All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's NASCAR coverage. Fast Friday is back, as here this evening we have for you practice and qualifying for the All-Star race, which will be taking place on Sunday. Really, the qualifying tonight will be to set the starting lineups for the heat races tomorrow. Full 50 minutes of practice also coming forth on the stream. And in that qualifying procedure, the pit crew competition, which we were glad returned to NASCAR and All-Star Race weekend within the last couple of years here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And we'll have all that coverage for you here tonight. Thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content, live commentary, NASCAR streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Obviously, we don't have something like this every NASCAR race weekend where we have a pit crew competition, which is going to give 100 grand out to whoever has the fastest pit crew time over the course of the full drivers going through that list. We have a full 50-minute practice, which we don't see that much anymore, where everybody can hit the racetrack at one point in time. So kind of an old school feel, I guess, if you will, for All-Star Race weekend on this Friday at an old school racetrack, typically which was North Wilkesboro Speedway. Pit road practice has begun. They are a couple minutes in. So basically what they're going to be doing for pit road practice, no practice pit stops necessarily, but these teams will practice getting down on the pit road at full speed. There is no speed limit on pit road for the actual pit crew competition / qualifying side of things, if I'm not mistaken. So we shall see how these teams are going to, I guess, practice this out. Now, so far, it shows 22 minutes left. I don't think there's a single car that's actually out there working on the practice pit stops. So more or less, this is basically just a 30-minute down period time into waiting for the full 50-minute practice, which will begin. We're all open and all-star cars entries will be in. They're showing a replay right now in FS2, which this is currently airing on, of Kyle Larson crashing in Indy 500 practice. I was not watching that earlier today, so I had no clue that that happened. Tough break. That's a second crash already at Indianapolis in the build-up for the Indy 500. This car looks absolutely destroyed this time. Backed it into the wall, hit the nose, backed it into the wall in the next corner. The long slide. Like it was in turns 3 and 4. Car slipped out from underneath him. Patrick Shadley, Michael Turner, Ashton G. Welcome into the stream, everybody. Again, Fox Sports 2 is currently airing coverage of practice. Justin Allgaier stepping in place for Kyle Larson for today's practice session. He's with Jamie Little.
The jump behind the wheel. What exactly can you gain by being in the car today for this team?
Well, for me, there's really nothing to gain other than to go out there and try to make the best laps that I can and get this HendrickCars.com Chevrolet as fast as it can be. Obviously, when Kyle shows up here for the All-Star race on Sunday, that he can go as fast as he can. And, just huge thank you to everybody in Hendrick Motorsports, Mr. Hendrick, the race team. And it's always fun to learn from them and to see what they have to offer. But, my goal is just go out there, make good laps, solid laps, learn as much as we can. Obviously, we have 3 teammates to kind of feed off of as well and see if we can have a car that he's able to go out there and win the All-Star race Sunday night.
And NASCAR did say you can't compete tomorrow in the heat races, so this is it. But today is really about the pit crew, and that's what you're doing for. How special is that to give them a shot to win this $100,000?
You've been standing up here watching. I mean, we've been watching some of the video already of the pit stall and getting in and out of the box. These are things that for me, the lap really doesn't matter for myself. Because the starting lineup, Kyle will have to start at the back. So the pit stop and pit stall selection through all of that is a big deal. And obviously, the pit crews put a lot of effort into these. And they want to be the best on pit road. And so, they deserve that. And so for me, hitting my marks, getting all of the details right are super important. And, at the end of the day, I've been doing this for a long time. It's easy to make mistakes. All-Star qualifying always has that aura of, who doesn't make the mistakes. But I think as long as we can do all the right things, this team behind me, the prep work and the time that they put into these events each and every week, I mean, it's evident on a regular week, but even here for the All-Star race is really special. And so to get the opportunity to do this, I know Kevin lived this last year And the nerves are definitely higher when you want to go out there and know that you're driving the 5 car. It's really good. But at the same time, I've worked with these guys a lot, and it's always fun to get behind the wheel of this Chevrolet.
Well, always good to see you. Did a great job last year starting the Coke 600 for Kyle Larson. Let's go over to Regan.
Jamie Ryan Blaney out of his race car right now. Already did your practice runs, Ryan, of hitting pit road, hitting the pit stall. So what's your first opinion of everything that you saw out there making some laps?
Yeah, it's nice to get back out, and run half a lap on the racetrack, and come to pit road. It's such an interesting thing. You want to push the limit, the detriment and stuff like that every weekend on pit road. But I think I have a decent spot for it. I think pit road entry was tough in that go because these are your practice tires, so you don't want to lock one up and ruin a set of practice tires. So yeah, all good so far. Nice to be back out. I'm happy the weather has held off so far, and really looking forward to seeing what speed we got in our Menards Mustang when we get going.
So I saw you get out of the car and come over and start looking at some data and research and stuff and looking at stuff. What kind of stuff are you guys studying this week just for these 2 or 3 laps that you're going to have to make to get to pit road? Has it been a lot of extra work?
It has last year, right? Like, where'd you stack up last year at your break point coming onto pit road? Did you give up, 5-10 feet? Did you break 10 feet earlier? How good were you getting down to your lights? Could you get there right away, or did you overshoot it and then have to back up the first section and then you have to make it back up? So it's all being efficient, how much you can get to the line, but then making sure you're at your speed at the line, right? Because then there's 5 different segments here, pit road lights that we run, section third, or there's 6 actually sections of different lights that we're running just because the corner and things like that. So just trying to be efficient, like timing of when you get to your lights or when you're giving it up, and then timing your speed into your box, not like giving up too much into your box because, a tenth or two can go a long way. And you're just trying to rely on that. And then on top of that, you also got to hit a pretty good lap, as well. You can give up 3-4 tenths hitting a bad lap. So it's just a pretty cool thing how to do it. It's cool that we highlight the over the wall guys, and showing their talents and having that competition as well. And got all the faith in the world they're going to have a blister and stop. I just hope I can do my job the best that I can and try not to miss
Qualified laps.
Thanks, Regan. All right, track crews are out cleaning a few things up. The Oakland drivers have had a chance to practice pit road entry and exit. All-Star drivers next.
Yeah, so the qualifying is going to be the same for the open cars as well as the drivers who are in the All-Star race, and that is because the pit crew competition side of things is obviously up for grabs. $100,000 only going to one pit crew of all of the entries for this weekend's All-Star event. That is the drivers who are already locked into the main event, and obviously the open entries as just mentioned already. The open cars will qualify first, and then we'll go into the main All-Star drivers, and they will end up hitting qualifying after we get through practice. Full 50 minutes of practice is going to start at the top of the hour, 5 p.m. Eastern today. And then after the 50-minute practice session is up, top of the following hour is when the pit crew competition and qualifying for the All-Star Race weekend begins. And again, the heat races that will be taking place tomorrow night, we will be live streaming those on the channel. That is what the qualifying procedure basically sets the starting lineup for today is the heat races. Heat race number 1 will be the inside row. Heat race number 2 will be the outside row based off of the qualifying order for tonight. Very similar to how things are structured in Speed Week at Daytona with the 500 and the dual races leading up to the Daytona 500 where they would have qualifying single car. Only the front row was locked up into the actual All-Star front row. Last year, that won Joey Logano the pole by qualifying up front on Friday. Technically, it was Saturday last year because it got rained out and they ran in the early afternoon, late morning for this pit crew competition. But no inclement weather today. All that stayed north of North Wilkesboro Speedway, so they should be able to get in without any sort of interruption for today. Patrick in the chat asking, what are the odds of the alliance between Trackhouse and Kaulig giving Connor Zilic a seat? That's interesting. I guess it depends, on if they want to give Kaulig, that is. Man, I know AJ Allmendinger doesn't really care for driving in the Cup Series full time, which is why he went to the Xfinity Series. And then, Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice are like, hey, we need you up here. He's like, all right, I guess I'll do it. So is it just kind of a one and done deal for, maybe Zillich to get the call up? I don't think so, personally. I would like to think Trackhouse is going to get him a ride full-time at Trackhouse Racing. When he does make it to the Cup Series, the question is will he be Cup full-time, next year or the year after? I think him having this injury and stepping away a little bit is going to deter him just a bit. I don't think the injury is as serious. Yes, he has lower back pain. If he had not had a win already in the Xfinity Series and was locked into the playoffs there, I do think he would have raced the last Xfinity Series race. But he'll be back in Charlotte next week. Duty as he'll be running the Coke 600 as well. And we get to see him make his Oval Cup Series debut. Bam Hall, welcome to the stream. Yesterday's the senior's last day of school for you. There you go. I remembered seniors getting out early. That's right. I feel like for us, we didn't get out that early compared to everybody else. So, but that's right, though. It is the end of the school year nearly. Mid-May, end of May. Some years for us, it'd be early June, depending on how harsh our winters were, depending on how many days we had canceled during the year. There was a couple years specifically, I can remember going into like a weekend of June. Kind of sucks because it cuts into the summer vacation time and the rollover into the following year. Get some massive snowstorms. Jeffrey Giordano, welcome to the stream. Full for Alex Bowman this evening. Probably as always. Pickard should be Twix for all the HMS everything. So pit crew competition practice, essentially, these drivers and teams, I should say the teams, the drivers specifically, have been practicing getting in and out of their pit boxes, in and off of pit road, in preparation for the competition that will be had later on tonight. Full practice session will be immediately following this timed session for practice to qualify. I was getting distracted seeing Larry McReynolds moonwalking over the loose rubber in the pit box. Just dancing around. Think I'd see that. Justin Allgaier having a loose moment in turns 1 and 2 on his lap. This is not right now, but this was a little bit ago. You're a sophomore in high school. Last day's the 29th. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday exams. Good luck on your exams. Yeah, no times obviously showing in our practice session. Are an open practice. Every driver has the full 50 minutes to occupy whatever kind of lap times they want to put down. Now remember last year for the North Wilkesboro All-Star Race, on the freshly repaved surface, we had the introduction of option tires. And we had the primary versus option tire strategy. That is not the case this year. Everybody will be racing on the same tire. So there won't be as much tire strategy necessarily for the race itself on Sunday night. Shouldn't see too much fall off, and track position's going to be key. pole winner of the Clash the last 2 years, and the pole winner at North Wilkesboro on the fresh repaved surface last season as well, was the winner of the events. Chase Elliott at the Clash this year, Hamlin the year before, Joey Logano at the All-Star race last year. It's just with this car, track position is key, especially on these flatter, shorter ovals, and especially when there's no tire fall off like there will be more than likely this weekend. So this is going to be very intense to see how qualifying is going to shape up, because that can make or break your chances of winning $1 million on Sunday, which of course is the payout to the race winner of the All-Star race. And these drivers want to be as perfect as they can on pit road, not just for the sake of their starting position for the heat races and for the All-Star race on Sunday, but try to give their pit crews the best shot possible at $100,000. They don't want to ruin it for them. This is their time to shine, the one time of the year as well. I do not have the qualifying order for when that will end up taking place. I'll let you listen into the TV broadcast when we do get into the 50-minute practice session. Thank you for everybody tuning in. If you've hit the like button, thank you. If you have not, be sure to do so. Our goal is 50 likes for this evening. We are currently at 14, waiting for practice to begin. Now, in the process of waiting for practice, and because this is a non-points paying race, usually, for those of you that know, on Sundays or whenever the NASCAR Cup Series races are going, live commentary streams, we do Sporcle NASCAR trivia beforehand. We'll do a trivia quiz for that week leading up to the start. We're going to do that right now because we are not going to be doing that on Sunday between the Open and the All-Star race taking place. We'll have 2 separate streams that day. We're not going to have a full pre-race like we usually would because there's no NASCAR fantasy to be had this weekend because it's a non-points paying race. So, with not doing it on Sunday, I figured, why not? We're going to have time to kill, especially with going live a little early before this practice session here today. Again, that will begin in about 10 to 15 minutes, so let's get the NASCAR Sporcle Trivia Quiz. And this week, we're going to do something, of course, All-Star race-oriented. And I don't have the list or the race picked out. NASCAR All-Star Race top 10s since 1990. We could do that. Let a lap in an All-Star Race. That's interesting. So we got a couple of options here. Anybody who's been in an All-Star Race, you know what? Why not? Let's do that. This is up to date too. Not counting this year. But from 1985, which was the All-Star race, or at the then time named the Winston Inception, to last season, 2024, we have to name every driver who has ever competed in an All-Star race. So that will be our quiz for this weekend. Again, usually we do this on Sunday, but between the Open, no pre-race because there's no fantasy this weekend, the All-Star race itself, we will have our NASCAR Sporcle trivia on this stream. So, it gives us the years that they made the All-Star race, and it gives us how many All-Star starts they had. I think we're just going to start naming drivers and then go from there. So I'm going to start naming off some former winners of the race. So we got Michael Waltrip, of course, getting his. Darrell Waltrip's going to be on the list as well. Earnhardt, that's going to be Junior All-Star race winner. Jeff Gordon, All-Star race winner. Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart, Hamlin, Busch, Kurt Kyle, Truex, Larson, Blaney at Texas, Logano, Trying to think back. Yeah, Larson won at Wilkesboro a couple years ago, too. I remember AJ Allmendinger almost won that year. What was it, 2019 when they had the Super Speedway package at Charlotte and he finished second? Jamie McMurray won one. You know, old Jamie baby. Labonte. Kyle Petty. Allison. It's going to be on the list. Bobby. Davey. First winning cup for Waltrip. Yep. Gregory Bradley. Willie Ellis, welcome to the stream. Yeah, you guys can play along in the chat. I'll be looking off of that. All right. I'm just going to start naming guys who anybody who's ever won a cup race, basically from 85 to 2024. Cole Custer. He's going to be in it. Going all over the board here. Sterling Marlin. Gary Gant. Bodine. Jeff, Todd, Brett. All three of them were in it. Elliott. Bill Elliott, former winner of the race. Chase Elliott. Going to be on here as well. Jimmy Spencer. He's won some races in the NASCAR Cup Series. Kind of sticking with the 90s for right now. Jeremy Mayfield. Got a spell. There we go. Jeremy Mayfield was in it. Rusty Wallace. And that'll give me Bubba, Mike, Kenny, Bobby Hamilton, Yarborough towards the end of his career should have been in it. Yep. Leroy Yarborough. No, he wasn't in it. Yeah, it's a little too late. A little too late for that. Ernie Irvin. Garrett Cope. I do have Davey. Yep. Let's see here. I think of some other guys. Morgan Shepherd's won some races through the 90s. John Andretti. Let's go more to modern time here. Allmendinger, because I was just talking about him. Keselowski, I know I didn't put on the list yet. Busher. Justin Haley. Briscoe. Almirola. Danica probably got the fan vote. Josh Wise got the fan vote the one year. I remember that. Yeah, we're going all over the map with this. Ty Gibbs, last couple seasons has raced his way in. Josh Berry raced his way in. He won the Open a couple years ago. Dylan, Austin, Reddick. I don't think going all over the place was the right idea with this. Mark Martin, I haven't named yet. Biffle, Edwards, Kenseth, Reagan, Bain. Chad Little ever race his way in? No. I was just thinking of Musgrave. Didn't race his way in either. I knew they never won any cup races. Mike Skinner won a lot of non-points paying races, but he never won this one. Most of those were Daytona then. In Japan, I remember he won one of those races over there too. Morgan and the Wood Brothers. Yeah, he dominated Atlanta through the mid-90s. Jerry Nadeau, former Cup winner. Nemechek. Johnny Benson. Mike Bliss? No, I remember he was close to 1 year. Vickers, I didn't put on here yet. Casey Mears. Johnny Sauter in 07 raced his way in. I remember that. That was on the 70 car, wasn't it? Hornish did too. Yeah, Hornish raced his way in 2 years in a row, 08, 09 to 77. William Byron, another active Bowman. See, I was skipping around. Suarez, Chastain, Gross. I mean, to name 115 of them, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job so far. All things considered, I'm going to refresh the chat. Again, anybody who has ever made the All-Star race, main event, specifically. Christopher Bell, another active driver. Blaney. I already put him. Cindric. Stenhouse. No. I thought maybe he would have raced his way in recent years. DiBenedetto raced his way in at that Bristol race. That was the only one I've ever been to. DiBenedetto. There we go. Raced his way in 2 times. Strickland. There we go. Thank you for that. Wally Dallenbach, yep, former Talladega winner. Dallenbach. Back. I'm going to pause it for a quick second. I got to figure out how to spell his name. No, Wally Dallenbach was not in it because I spelled his name out and he didn't come up. Too early, son. Hillen's on here, though. You got a few of them, Willie. Hmm. 83 of 115. Oh, here's some. Well, I didn't put that. Yeah, Jeff and Wardburton. I was thinking of Harrison because he won last year. Gregson get in within the last couple. Yeah, Noah did. Okay, fan vote. That's right. Clint Boyer. I didn't name him yet. Harvick, I didn't name yet. That would have been tough. Scott Riggs ever make one? Yep. 2006. 89 out of 115. Got some quite a few early 90s, late 80s, 21, 22. and 24. 3 times. 21, 22, 24. Next gen. 2 of them in the next gens. Who's one that I haven't named yet? Recent years. I did put Busher already. Oh man. 21, 22, 24. That's bothering me that's somebody that races now. Skip the current driver. Yeah, I was gonna say I already put him. Yeah, that bothers me that I'm missing somebody active. Missing an active driver. Well, Elliott Sadler's on here. Gilliland is not on here. Michael McDowell. That's the active driver. Okay, there we go. Rudiman. There we go. Got 92 of 115. Still got 7 minutes left. Still got another recent driver. 2019, 2020, and then 22, 23. But didn't make it last year. So they didn't make it to the All-Star race last year, but they made it 19, 20, 22, 23. And who was a bigger name that missed the All-Star race last season? That means they would have went winless late 23 into early 24 at least. See, it makes me think Kyle Busch, but Busch has been in it. Four All-Star appearances. I'd like to think I'll be able to figure it out with the press coverage for practice here shortly. As soon as this quiz comes to an end, cars are just getting the green light to hit the racetrack. Shane Van Gisbergen didn't participate when he won in 23, so I'm not going to put him. I'm upset at the fact I'm missing an active driver, though. I think more older names, though. There's a lot of guys from the 90s, 80s, even a couple early 2000s. Steve Park. Well, I got him. There's an 2011, 2012 on here. That's Regan Smith. Okay. So yeah, everything's 80s, 90s except for one current driver. There's one current driver that I am missing. That bothers me. I skipped him. Dave Marcus. No. Trickle might be. Yeah, Dick Trickle's on here, 1990. Who's the active driver that I'm missing right now? No, I got him. Eric Jones. Eric Jones was the guy I was missing, active driver. Got him. All right, we're good. Got 96 of 115. 3.5 minutes left. I don't really know of any other names. 17 All-Star appearances, 85-99. Missed in 2000 and 2001, so went winless for a couple years. And then 02-03 they made it. Thought I put Labonte already? Yeah. Okay. I was thinking maybe Terry. That's a big one I definitely should have on here. It's probably the biggest name we have not named yet. Greg Sachs is going to be on here. Elt Sawyer, 95. Yeah, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I definitely missed somebody huge. I'm missing at least one very, very big name. 97 and 02 to 04. My goodness. So there's two drivers on here that I feel like I should definitely get. Ricky Craven. Okay. Got 99 out of 115. That 17 appearances is bothering me. Who have I skipped? Won a lot of races. I don't know. I don't know. 14 seconds. It just hasn't come to me yet. Unfortunately. Overall, I did good on this quiz. That one name that slipped me is going to bother me. But other than that, pretty solid. Ricky Rudd, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a tough look. I always forget about the Bakers on these lists for some reason. Buddy Baker had one appearance in 87. Neil Bonnet. Tim Richmond. So not having Ricky Rudd is tough. Ken Schrader, Lake Speed, Benny Parsons. I feel like I forget about the Parsons. Benny and Phil are on this list. Robert Presley, Jimmy Hensley, Kenny Irwin Jr. had 2 appearances. Rick Mast, Dave Mater III, Paul Menard, 2012 after the Brickyard win in 11. That's not bad, though. That's all I missed. So I missed 16, 86 out of 59%. Pretty solid. 99 out of 115 score. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. NASCAR Cup Series practice is going on right now for the All-Star race. And currently top of the speed charts is Joey Logano, the defending winner of this race with an 18.31. Austin Cindric, his teammate at Penske, in second. Short flat ovals looking good for Team Penske right now, 1 and 2 on the practice overall time lap leaderboard chart. Practice is currently airing on Fox Sports 2 for visual purposes if you're wondering where you can tune in for that. Obviously, full coverage right here for you on KRC as well. I might have to log out of NASCAR.com and then log back in because they're not showing the leaderboard on our screen right now. It's frozen. Practice 1. There we go. That's why it wasn't. It's on practice 2, even though there was only one practice. All right, so there you have it. Joey Logano's number 1 on the leaderboard. Austin Cindric second, as mentioned already. They've ran just about a dozen laps, give or take, between the two of them. William Byron has put down 15 laps already as the third fastest time. Josh Berry, Tyler Reddick over 20 laps ran are 5th and 6th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in 7th. Brad Keselowski in 8th. Christopher Bell 9th. Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 10 on overall times. Chase Briscoe's 14th. Denny Hamlin in... I scrolled too far down. What is this leaderboard? You guys see this too, where it shows 15th, 18th? It's skipping the order. We're missing a lot of drivers on this list. We got the top 10, and then after the top 10, it just shows a bunch of random drivers. So I have no clue exactly why only some of them are being shown. Oh, you know what? It might be because some of the open drivers are mixing in with the actual all-star drivers. So maybe that's why it's showing like this. I couldn't tell you exactly why our leaderboard is scrambled around, but we do know the top 10. And I'll air some of that FS2 coverage. Mike Joy, Clinton Boyer, Kevin Harvick in the booth as always on Fox.
Enjoy that as they make their national cable TV debut, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, myself and Dale Jr. Will be calling a race tonight for our late model stocks. But right now, Carson Hocevar is really starting to push this groove. You see his right side tires, and when you all 4 tires in that third lane right there through the middle of 1 and 2, it's like a skateboard ramp. You go up and you go down. But as they get into turns 3 and 4, they keep pushing this groove up higher and higher in the second lane. But that third lane actually has a couple more degrees of banking. So if the cars ever slow down enough to really wrap the top of that racetrack, I can't wait to see if they can push that groove even wider. But he and Tyler Reddick have definitely been the ones being the most aggressive with that second lane, and now Josh Berry right behind them has kind of followed suit.
There's a big disparity between teams as far as how much practicing is going on. John Hunter Nemechek has run the least amount of laps, 10. The Spire cars, 11. But some drivers have run over 30 laps, including the Gibbs and 2311 cars.
Yeah, and usually when your car is on pit road in these types of situations, you've got some work to do. You want to make an adjustment. Knowing that you have a second set of tires, you come in, make those adjustments, go feel it out, and then put your tires on.
Well, that car right there, Denny Hamlin, all but turned it around getting into turn 1. I bet you they'd be tightening that thing up. Really loose getting in, looked to me like it.
Yeah, and turn 1 here, this is the exit of turn 2, but as you go to the entry of turn 1, you can't really see the elevation. You can see that back straightaway is uphill as the cars are coming off of turn 2 now. You're kind of driving into a hill, and then you go uphill all the way up the back straightaway. So a lot of elevation change here that TV doesn't really do it justice for, but that entry into turn 1, you come downhill into the front straightaway, and you can see how that wall flattens out right there. It's like you go through a flat section where the car wants to get neutral, wants to get loose, so that's why they drive it in straight and ramp up that hill.
And why is that? Well, it all comes down, as usual, to money. When this track was built, they graded the area to build the racetrack, got it as symmetrical as they could, and just ran out of development money instead of being able to move a whole lot of dirt from turns 3 and 4 down to 1 and 2 to make the track level. But it gives it character, and it makes this track unique. You're looking at the best 20 lap average right there. Watching Tyler Reddick's graph, you've seen me do that in practice sessions a lot this year. He's actually gotten faster as we progress. Rubber being burned in the racetrack, moving up a little bit with the track widening out.
Yeah, and I think
Speeds are getting faster. Look at Hosemar, even higher yet.
and that's really what these guys are testing. And that's why I love these longer practice sessions and an extra set of tires. Just allows them to explore. And really, with a new racetrack like this, they don't really know where the limits are as far as how far they can move this groove up. But you've seen Tyler Reddick in the car behind him, Carson Hosevar, really push that groove into areas that we haven't been before.
Why are we able to move up that high?
Well, a lot of times you would say it was tire wear, but this banking is progressive as you go from 1, 2, and 3. And that top lane is definitely more banked than every other part of the corner.
Interesting what you said about running the first couple of laps here with the late model Hoosier rubber on the track. Sunday, when we run the all run Sunday afternoon, their Hoosier rubber will be on the track when we start the All-Star race.
Yeah, for sure. And when you have that difference in rubber, it definitely makes the cars handle different. It makes the speed different, makes the feel different, and a lot of times will give you a false read. So it is definitely a tough thing to manage. But this practice session right here, the beginning and the end and where you're running on the racetrack is changing rapidly as we see these cars through 3 and 4 just keep going higher and higher through the corner.
Joey Logano fastest, Josh Berry 6th, Austin Cindric among the Penske group in 2nd. Right now, at 30 minutes to go in combined All-Star and Open practice.
There you go. All right, 30 minutes still remains, as you heard from Mike Joy, in practice for the All-Star Race and All-Star Open, which will be taking place on Sunday. Again, tomorrow night will be the heat races, which will set the starting lineup up for the main event specifically. Tonight, qualifying immediately after this practice session with the pit crew competition organized into it. Each driver will be making 2 laps of qualifying on their first lap. They have to come in, pit in. Pit crew will go to work, 4-tire stop, splash and go, off and away, finish that lap, run another lap, and then in for the qualifying time, which technically would be a 3-lap average. And whoever has the fastest time overall will set the pole for the All-Star race on Sunday. Only the top 2 positions will be locked into the front row for Sunday based off qualifying tonight. The heat races will set up the starting lineup for the main event specifically. After that, the All-Star Open, their qualifying will be set up based off of the qualifying that we will see for this evening. They do not have any heat races, and the top 3 will advance into the main event on Sunday for the All-Star Open, which we usually see. I should say 2 drivers. Sorry, 2 drivers will advance through the All-Star Open. A third will advance via the fan vote immediately after the Open, basically the best of the rest. And whoever the top fan vote getter is of them. Got a few former All-Star drivers that have made All-Star races in years past that are going to be running the Open. We'll get into that more in depth when qualifying does begin here in a little bit. We'll take our first break of this stream, though. You're listening live on KRC. Again, NASCAR All-Star Race Practice is currently airing on FS2 and live right here on KRC.
Baseball night in America as Matt Olson and the Braves take down Alex Bregman and the Red Sox. Or Twins battle the Brewers. Check your local listings for the game in your area tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Fox. Here in North Wilkesboro, Joey Logano fastest among the All-Star cars. Todd Gilliland quickest among the Open cars, which those drivers are in gray on our scoring pile-up. All-Star drivers in white. I like it. They've got this track way up in 1 and 2, starting to move it up more and more and more, inching it up in 3 and 4. That's going to open up a lot of options for these guys that make passes, slide jobs, everything in between.
Yeah, we've seen the 77 and 54 ones really be able to push that groove, but you see the 9 car go by the 77. So cool tires, less laps, definitely better than the stuff that's been out there for a long time.
But the stuff that's been out there a long time is that 77 Carson Hocevar you're looking at right there. Him and Tyler Reddick are the responsible for moving that groove up. He was following Tyler Reddick, and their lap times on the long run really answered.
Yeah,
At a really good pace. But the problem is everybody's going to learn from that. Every crew chief, engineer down there on pit road are telling these drivers, hey, these guys are finding speed at the top of the racetrack.
yeah. As I watch that 9 car of Chase Elliott, as we see the 34 car right here of Zane Smith, Todd Gillen, I'm sorry.
Let's check with Jamie.
Well, I looked at the board and Chase Elliott was 33rd. Alan Gustafson and crew chief, you guys came in, made some changes, and helped you go to the top 10. What did you guys do there?
Yeah, our prop Chevy's pretty good. And it's clicking for a while. We wanted to kind of get going, so we had to adjust that and make it a little better for the short run. So we're running out here with this set of tires, pretty good, and then make some adjustments on the second session.
All right, going in the right direction, guys.
Thanks, Jamie. You can tell how hard it is to hear down there because pit road is right up against the racetrack where everybody is standing down there on the inside, turn number 4. Very short distance to the racetrack now. Chase, one of the drivers who won the All-Star race and went on to become the NASCAR Cup champion. One of 3 to do it over the last 5 years. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, the shot that's over on this Gen 7 car can make such a huge difference about the way the car drives, the way it goes across the top. All of my days as a crew chief, if I wanted to make a shock adjustment, I had to change the whole shock. Not the case on this Gen 7 car. Every car has the same shock in all 4 corners, but they're adjustable. You can adjust the rebound. If the shock comes out, you can adjust the compression, how it goes in, low speed, high speed. I think that's one thing I saw Alan Gustafson and Jamie just talked to, adjust on that 9 car. That can definitely make a difference in short run and long run speed.
Absolutely. 25 minutes to go. Todd Gilliland passing cars will as we look at Chase Elliott, who's 9th on the board, matching his car number. Gilliland, Wallace, Herbst cars. Let's look at Todd.
Yeah, and you see Todd with a little lower entry than a lot of the cars that we've been watching right there. But that line on the bottom of the racetrack into turn 1 right here where he's going, that's one thing that you can guard against as you see him split those hash marks there and shoot up. It's like a skateboard ramp and be able to just touch that banking. A lot of the guys that were running higher than that, you got to get those right sides right against that top hash mark to make that arc a little bit bigger around the corner. So lots of different strategies and lots of different places to go on this racetrack right now.
Ross Chastain just got bumped out of the Fast 5 by Kyle Busch. So he is 6th on the board right now with a black bump at 1839.
Yeah, and you can almost see as he went up the banking right there in turn 1, you can almost see the car. You kind of go across that seam and almost skip up through that banking. You can
see it pick that banking up though, yeah. As it slides up there, you see it getting into that 3rd groove, if you will. It really picks up that progressive banking, helps those guys, especially with the speed up off the corner.
Yeah, you see Ryan Blaney right here. Always easy to find in that Menards paint scheme. Good for old people like us, Clint.
You usually look for that car because it's moving forward.
Yeah.
15th on the board. Wrangler colors, Wrangler yellow and blue. All the Earnhardt fans be wearing. The Dale Senior fans says, and the Dale Junior fans. Why not? 23 minutes to go in All-Star and Oakland combined.
Same paint scheme. You won the All-Star race with in Texas back in 2022. So maybe for good fortune, they've got that scheme of the car this weekend for the All-Star race in 2025. Joey Logano still the fastest time overall in practice. He has put down 57 laps in this full session. 18.313 was his fastest lap, which is an average speed on that lap of 122.863 miles per hour. Austin Cindric is second fastest still, then William Byron third, Kyle Busch in fourth. Fifth is Ross Chastain of our regular drivers. who will be in the show, the main event that is, for this weekend. So that's what the practice one is, I do believe. It's only showing the actual all-star drivers and where they rank. And that is why you're seeing the drivers who aren't locked into the all-star race and are in the open in the practice session. So if you're actually viewing on FS2, you'll be able to find that out. And I'll go through quickly who the top drivers are in the open practice session. Todd Gillen is the fastest. I don't have it for me right now because they're on a commercial break, but as soon as I come back, I'll let you know. I do know that Todd Gillen had the fastest time, though, of the open drivers when they went to commercial, and he was third overall. Brad Keselowski to the top of the speed charts with an 18.304, so he probably just made adjustments and threw the fresh set of tires on. Each of these teams get 2 sets of Goodyear tires. Josh Berry going to bump up into the top 3 as well, up to third, splitting up the Penske duo of Logano and Cindric. So now that we're into the second half of the practice session, a lot of these teams are making changes, putting a new set of tires on, and picking up on the speed charts as a result of which. Tyler Reddick now to the top, as we're continuously seeing a lot of change during this commercial break. 18.272, the fast lap for Reddick. That was about 0.04 of a second quicker than Logano's fast lap from his first set of tires. So I'm curious to see if Joey ends up jumping back to the top when they get the second set in. And I'm sure he just made a straight run, which is why he eclipsed 60 laps. Coming in, they'll probably make an adjustment and then get him back out there again. Chase Elliott has ran 52. No other drivers ran more than 50 laps other than Logano, Berry, and Elliott.
Great. I don't think I would keep grow anymore. But someone buys a whole town.
So they're just coming back from commercial break. I mentioned Todd Gillen had the fastest time. Of the open drivers, still does. He's 6th overall now with a few drivers jumping up into the top 5, as mentioned, Reddick, Keselowski, and Berry, with Reddick leading them all. Second fastest time behind Gillen of the open drivers would be Bubba Wallace and Riley Herbst. Then Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith round out the top 5 for the open.
Right to the top of the board and the top of the track, turn 1 and 2.
Well, I think he put new rubber on that race. Like it said, you can't take it with you. Might as well use them now. Just like you said, Brad Keselowski, right to the top of the board. Reddick as well.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how much faster they are the second time out. This track has really picked up speed as we've gone through this session, and they've learned what they need to learn about the grip levels and where to be on the track.
Christopher Bell, the second.
I've noticed not only in the center of the corner, they're widening the entry out too, Kevin, especially getting into 1.
Yeah, and I think as that entry widens out, you go through that flat section and be able to make that arc a little bit better, and use that ramp and coming back down the hill sooner to get a better run down the back straightaway.
And here's some radio from Brad's team.
I am on that. Yeah. I'll let it go. Yeah, I need $1 million. I have bills to pay. What's up, evenly down there with Jonathan there, Jeremy, everybody but the bottom. I'm used to it.
I'm not sure if you're the driver and the owner, you want to talk about how much you owe at any given moment while on the racetrack.
Well, it makes you have a better purpose when they put $1 million in front of you.
Okay.
But he's definitely right. The spotters don't need to get paid any of that money. They're paid enough. It's fun to give them grief.
Interesting story about that particular graphic scheme, and we'll tell it to you when he qualifies.
Oh, a little teaser there, Mike.
Well, just a little.
I thought I did too. He's saving it. Now we don't know what to do. Oh, look at this. Yeah, so 4 o'clock on the left and currently on the right, you see there's even some rubber marks right at those bottom hashes through turns 3 and 4. And we know that top groove has 2 degrees of banking more. And these guys are all well aware that banking is up there, and they're starting to feel their way up towards that top lane. They're there at 1 and 2. You see it right here.
This has the weirdest racing line of any short track I've ever been
I
to.
love it. And a lot of that is just because of the uniqueness of how this track was built, the elevation changes, up the back straightaway, kind of flattens out through the middle of 1 and 2. And then, so there's all kinds of weird, funky things going on with the the way that this goes uphill, downhill, banking's different. So all kinds of crazy stuff that make it fun.
Which make that line that you run, right, the preferred line, important, but it also makes it challenging. As you go through all those characteristics, you could miss. And when you miss, it's a passing opportunity for the car behind you.
What's the chatter down there, Larry?
Yeah, Mike, it's been well documented. This is in at Bowling Gray in the Clash, and in Martinsville just a few weeks ago. I talked to Rudy Fugel, William Byron's crew chief, and I said, "What do you think?" He said, "When you've got this salt in the tire on into a run, it really exposes handling problem. Right now, with about 15 minutes to go in this practice, most everybody is complaining about tight. The car's not turning. The front wheels are sliding. Kevin Flynn at a short track but won't turn in the middle. You know what happens next. In the water. You're in the way. You get moved."
Yeah, and it's such a fine line on new asphalt like this to let the backslide and wait for the front to turn. But you get too far behind, you're in big trouble.
All right, they've had a little fun in the 17 shop along with some trouble in post-race tech last week. See there in the back on the rear quarter panel where they have Band-Aid. Band-Aid's a sponsor. They've taken all of their Bear Bond, that big material that is usually black, to repair body damage. Well, guess what it's going to be this week? It's not going to be Bear Bond.
It's going to be a Band-Aid.
Yeah, Band-Aid. What big Band-Aid on it?
Well, we need a big Band-Aid off of this.
That's activation. Well, now, here's what they have to contend with, though, is a front bumper cover violation. They've been assessed 60 driver and owner points, 5 playoff points, 2 race suspension for the crew chief, Scott Graves, and a $75,000 fine. The team, last I saw, they were still deciding whether or not to appeal, but Graves has begun to serve his suspension anyway, and Doug Randolph is in charge of that team.
Look at that. You see that left rear tire right there.
How low can you go?
Yeah.
Looks like it needs a Band-Aid.
Looks like it needs a pound of.
Low air means more grip.
Did we not learn any?
Oh, we got one up against the
one
wall.
that fits. Looks like Nemechek, I believe.
Yeah. Looked like he might have just pushed himself out of the groove. He was right behind Kyle Busch at the moment, backed off. But you see that left rear air in that 8 car.
Well, that lap you just saw of Kyle Busch, that was his fastest lap of the day.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, and as we've been talking week after week, the low air pressure in these tires really exposed here on the short tracks where the speeds aren't quite as high. You still have a lot of bumps right here, but you see that tire actually start to wrinkle up.
Yeah.
And that really shows the bumps and things that go along with the racetrack, as rigid as the suspension is. And like we talk, you use that tire as a part of that suspension when you get down close to those limiters or on those limiters, and the tire becomes the crutch.
I can't see doing that for a long run, but since you have 2 sets of tires for practice, you're about to go into qualifying, maybe let's just be experimenting there. That'll show you what happened to John Hunter Nemechek in the 42. Could be the green and white car.
You're going to
Come in.
up at the top of the screen.
That
He just got in the marble.
I think
more
so
than
too.
anything.
Yeah, as they keep trying to push this groove higher and higher, there's just that fine line of, and you see how dirty it is up there with all the rubber and everything where they're not running on the racetrack. So as you go through the middle part of the corner, not many people are trying to push the groove any higher right now. So it seems to have leveled out through turn 22. So it's just going to continue to get dirty up there. So when he tried it, he just got into the crumbs up there.
Chase Elliott just jumped to 2nd on the speed chart. Wonder if they just fired on new tires, because 18:23 is the 400s and fastest lap of the day.
Bubba Wallace and Eric Jones have jumped to the top 2 on the open practice side of things, currently 3rd and 5th overall on their lap times. Gillen, who was the quickest on the first set of tires, is not the case anymore. Tyler Reddick, though, has the fastest lap time of All-Star Race and the open drivers. Again, everybody can hit the racetrack during this full 50-minute session. Chase Elliott is 2nd quickest right now, as you just heard right before the commercial break, jumping up with an 18.233. 18.198 was the fastest lap for Reddick. in this session. The lap times have jumped up quite a bit. Joey Logano's fast lap of an 18.313, or at one point in time was the fastest lap. New set of tires. He's been topped by 9 different drivers. Sorry, not 1.2 seconds. 0.12 seconds, just over a tenth of pickup. Tyler Reddick has also ran for 83 laps in this session, which I believe is the most of any other driver by quite a bit. Joey Logano has had 74 laps, a few drivers over 60, but yeah, 84 laps for Tyler Reddick and counting. He'll probably end up hitting 100 before this session is complete, assuming he runs it out to the end of the session. Emogene Blevins, Matthew Dorter Bruno, Austin Holm, welcome to the stream. I haven't shouted you guys out yet, but appreciate you watching. I do see you in the chat. Our goal is 50 likes for the stream again today. We're at 24 right now, and we're still on the practice side of things, so we're almost halfway there. We got qualifying yet to come up, and qualifying going to be a little bit longer this time because you got the pit crew competition mixed in with it. But that will take place over the next couple of hours. We'll start off with the open drivers and their qualifying session first, then get into the main event. 10.5 minutes left of this session of practice first, though.
About the line through this session.
Yeah, so this whole section right here is pretty flat. And what happens at the beginning of practice, they were shooting right through here up the racetrack. Now they're starting to, you see them starting to widen that groove out right there, getting into that banking because the center part of the corner here is starting to move up the track. That allows them to go down the hill on the exit sooner to get a better run sooner off the corner. And that's really, this is where your pass starts.
But trying to pick up that banking as quick as you possibly can because banking is grip. As soon as you get that grip and get the car rotating, you get back to the throttle.
Yeah, and they're really starting to do the same thing on the other end. They're starting to run up the racetrack on the entry. They've got this end of 1 and 2 burning in pretty good all the way up the racetrack, and now there's one. Once somebody's able to get that very top group clean and you can start touching that banking in the top of those hash marks, it's going to have 2 degrees more banking up there, and they're going to start to do that on the entry and start to ramp down the exit of turn 4. So it'll be interesting to watch this continue to widen out. And that's what happens when you have a soft tire. It lays rubber on the racetrack, and then you have the fall off. You have the speed at the beginning. We've seen 0.7 to a second of fall off with the 45 car of Tyler Reddick.
And you have a racing surface that's wide that you can move all over
Right.
passes. Justin Allgaier, 24th months ago. It's the only one that somehow looks smaller than Kyle in that race car.
It's interesting to me how far away the steering wheel is, how straight his arms are.
0.1 feet faster than the passenger car. Dead center of the corner, pulling a little, get it pointed the other way, just be tighter, and your race free actually pretty close.
Might be a different driver in that car, but that's the same Cliff Daniels we're accustomed to hearing on the radio. And
Yep.
he's always coaching and always telling him from the box of what he's seeing.
Oh, loose, yeah. And what he's telling him to do is actually slow the car and the roll speed down a little bit so he can get it rotated sooner and make that straightaway longer. That's where the speed is getting back to the throttle.
Now that voice in Allgaier's ear is Rick Corelli, veteran spotter, and he was a star in the truck series. Ooh, somebody was in the wall in turn 2. McDowell? No, Chase Elliott was in the wall in turn number 2 a moment ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's flipped off the right rear.
Yeah, you talk about
Got it pretty good too.
yeah, you talk about that groove over there with all the marbles and everything up the racetrack. Real easy to do. It's very dirty.
Here's a look at it. Yeah, he's pretty high.
He's high
I
already.
can see that car just didn't really set.
Yeah.
Not too bad, though.
Yeah, not too bad. And a lot of times,
So look at the crumbs. Look at the marbles up there that he's in. Once you're in that is ice.
but that's that flat section of racetrack that we talk about. And what happens right there? Sometimes you'll get loose and you can't touch the wheel. You just have to ride the slide. And luckily for him, the wall caught him not too hard.
Look, he put that heat blanket over there. He's going to look at the toe length. Initial inspection. 7 minutes to go in combined all-star and open practice at North Wilkesboro.
All right, well, the 18.198 lap still holds for Tyler Reddick as being the fastest lap in this current practice session. Chase Elliott is second. Third is Christopher Bell. Fourth, Ross Chastain. Fifth, Brad Keselowski of the all-star entries for Sunday. William Byron would be in sixth, then Kyle Busch seventh, Joey Logano eighth, Josh Berry ninth, Austin Cindric rounds out our top 10. At 11, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Blaney 12th, Denny Hamlin 13th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 14th, and Kyle Larson is 15th. Chase Briscoe in 16th, Chris Buescher 17th, Alex Bowman 18th, Harrison Burton 19th, and Austin Dillon is 20th. So those are the drivers who are locked into the main event. And we'll see how they're going to rank in qualifying here in a little bit. I don't expect too much more change in practice unless there's some drivers who haven't put that last set of tires on yet. But with less than 5 minutes to go now, I would assume that that wouldn't be the case. And practice might end up finishing out here very shortly anyway, because we have a caution underneath the full screen commercial break currently airing on Fox Sports 2. Caution flag is out. Not sure what the yellow's for yet, but we'll find out here in a few moments. Tyler Reddick has set just over 100 laps, 101, most of anybody. We'll take a look at some of the lap averages. I don't know if we're going to do that or not for today on our leaderboard. Doesn't look like they're going to, with it being kind of weird practice again, the mix of the open and main event drivers.
Caution is out at North Wilkesboro as Tyler Reddick has become the first driver to complete more than 100 laps. A.J. Allmendinger rolled slowly down pit road, went past the garage entrance, and stopped. Apparently that car will not fire, so the steps record goes to his aid.
Well, I'm going to say it, Mike, but this is the most entertaining practice session that we have covered all year. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that all the cars are on the racetrack, and I hope everybody's paying attention, because this having all the cars on the racetrack really puts and having more time and an extra set of tires allows these guys to explore and move around and not be so precise on exactly one set of tires and not having any leeway to move around and try things. So here.
I agree. Here's Christopher Bell. This defines loose.
Yeah, and you saw that on the first lap, and right now he's pretty animated with his hands. Tells me that he's not quite comfortable based on that first lap looseness into 3. Jamie?
Randall Burnett is crew chief for Kyle Busch. You guys been top 10 this practice. So you did multiple stints on the first set, then you put stickers on. What was your takeaway from what you saw?
Well, we were working on the balance, the first set of tires there, and just really trying to get an idea where we need to be. Kyle fired up. He was fairly happy with the car, but we need to do a couple things there for him to get the rear attached a little better. And then we put our stickers on, tried to do a little bit longer run to get some idea that. Yeah.
How low can you go?
Yeah, right. That's the name of the game here, obviously. So, yeah, it's been fun. Got a 50-minute practice session. We actually get to do some stuff. Got an extra set of tires, so makes it way more entertaining, I think.
Yeah, do you try some things that maybe won't stick, but things that maybe for short tracks could help down the line?
Yeah, I mean, having the extra set of tires allows you to do more things, right? Because you can kind of like do what we did like the first set is go out, run a handful of laps, get some feedback, work on it a little bit, go back out, try a couple things, and then put it to where you think you're going to be fast and go do a longer run on your second set. So that's kind of what we did. Been having fun practicing today.
Everybody's smiling down here, Mike. Everybody's having a good time.
Good. All right, here's Kyle Busch's radio. Talk about what that felt like.
Yeah. Thing we went back on, that was helping me keep the rear attached ankle.
but I just lost much better turn. So now I'm loose leaving. Older we go, like I'm steering as straight as I can and not giving it any wheel and not arcing my entry because
You're tight the first set of tires and everybody wants to make adjustments. We heard Larry Mack tell all of us, everybody across the board was fighting tight conditions on the first set of tires. Got a lot of rubber built into the racetrack now. Conditions are moving up the racetrack, banking and everything else, not to mention an adjustment, probably air pressure and a wedge adjustment or something like that, shock adjustment. Now we're loose.
Yeah, and you don't want to be loose in here. We mentioned this earlier. You cannot be loose into turn one. If you are, you're just losing time and as this group moves up and on the entry to turn three, that will be the same problem over there. So you can hear Kyle almost out of breath there as he was talking because it is a heavy workload.
But you only have this last set of tires, right? This is your last opportunity. So I want to find where that line is. Step over a little bit. All right, let's inch back to it, find a happy medium.
Well, all of the fast laps of the top 9 have been set on the second set of tires, and the fast 5 now includes 4 Toyotas and Chase Elliott's Chevrolet.
Well, I hate the fact that Kyle Larson isn't here to practice because I feel like the group would be scraping the fence right now through turns 1 and 2.
Mr. Reddick's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think he's he carried the flag. I think he'll make Kyle proud.
Yeah, Hostbar did a great job as well, pushing that group up.
Tyler Reddick is fastest, and that came on his 54th of 101 laps.
But I love that we heard backup on what we were saying with that extra set of tires, all the cars on the racetrack together and having some extra time allows the teams to do more. If you really want to push the needle right here, this is the way that we should practice every week.
But I think it's important to note that we have a very soft tire. We have a track that is, progressive banking, and a lot of characteristics that play into that favor. There's some of these racetracks I think I've been to, and I don't care if you get for 500 laps around there. We need more adjustments. It's the first time for sure that we've seen this much practice and this much moving. These cars are moving around on the racetrack. A lot of people are trying to figure things out. They've got the drivers in the cars stumped a little bit, if you will, and the crew chiefs on the box. Love it.
You know what else I see? Nerves. These pit crew guys, a bunch of them are doing calisthenics. They're stretching, they're jumping around, but nobody's just kind of standing still. They're, getting muscle memory, practicing their moves, getting ready. This is a very big night for these pit crews, and I think there's a lot of nerves down there.
It takes me back to the old days when we used to have it down in Charlotte, right, in the arena there, and watching those guys put on display their talents was he's ready. He's ready to party. He's ready to change stuff. Whatever you need him to do, that guy can do it. Some low air pressure.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be low, right? It's just,
How low is too low?
I'm not sure till it blows out. Who's going to be the first one to try it?
Saw a handful of them try it last week in Kansas. Didn't work out so well.
Couple more lap, and that will put Pave to practice here. Tyler Reddick is going to win practice. Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Christopher Bell, Eric Jones up in the fast 5.
It's 2311 cars they mean it. They're here to play. Both cars, top 3. Impressive.
That'll do it for an entertaining 45 minutes of practice for All-Star and Open cars. Pit crews at the ready. They're going to be the stars tonight.
All right, qualifying and pit crew competition will be coming up shortly. Tyler Reddick, again, fastest in practice with an 18.198 as his fast lap. He ran 101 of them. His fastest was on lap 54 of 101. Chase Elliott is the second fastest time. The fastest open driver who would have been third overall was actually Bubba Wallace. And then Christopher Bell, who was fourth overall, was third of the main event drivers. We only have the all-star drivers on our list. Ross Chastain would have been fourth of them. Brad Keselowski, fifth. William Byron, 6th, Kyle Busch, 7th, Joey Logano, 8th, Josh Berry, 9th, and Austin Cindric rounds out our top 10. Daniel Suarez in 15th, Ryan Blaney 16th, 17th for Denny Hamlin, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 18th, 19th for Justin Allgaier, taking place in the 5 for Kyle Larson on his duties today, and Chase Briscoe 20th. 21st for Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman 22nd, 23rd, Harrison Burton. So that was all of the drivers through practice, at least of the main event drivers and where they ranked. And again, qualifying will begin shortly, along with the pit stop / pit crew competition intertwined in that qualifying session. We'll start off with the open drivers, and then the main event drivers will be soon after. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to NASCAR Cup Series action right here on the channel. So again, coverage of practice was on Fox Sports 2. For those of you wondering what channel, cable-wise, where you can watch. Fox Sports 1 at 6 p.m. Eastern at the top of the hour, though, is going to take care of everything for qualifying and the pit stop competition for the rest of the evening. Eric Jones, top 5 time for him overall. Pretty good to see that number 43 car up there. Second of the open drivers. Ryan Priest, though, is a driver standing with Regan Smith on pit road.
Seem to be very pleased with the 60 car.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you feel good when you're top of the board, but it really doesn't pay anything for that. So, yeah, Fear the Frog this weekend, and the Boston Common Golf Ford Mustang is sporty. I'm really happy with it. I don't think there's many tweaks we need to make, but certainly we have qualifying going up here, so I can't wait for my pit crew to show how good they are.
Good luck in qualifying. Larry.
Yeah, Regan, Tyler Reddick, 101 laps, top of the board. Looks like pavement, you will use it. How was your practice?
Yeah, that's the way I like to live. That's for sure. Our Series 6M Camry, obviously fires off good and has good long run pace. So just, trying to fill out, what our race car does over those 250 lap runs we did. Understand what the track's doing and what kind of options you have out there on the racetrack. So was really happy with the fire off of our Camry both times. And, yeah, it's good to be able to come to North Wilkesboro, a place that, I've dreamed of racing at and have speed. It's always good.
Fires off good long run speed. That's music to a crew chief's ears.
Seems like there's a lot of happy crew chiefs down there with this 45-minute practice session.
Yeah, and we heard a lot of happy crew chiefs, a lot of happy drivers last week when they were blowing tires in practice at Kansas. So it'll be interesting to see how this progresses and whose car is good and not good as we go into the next 2 nights of races.
Well, qualifying's coming up, and it's not all about the driver. It's all about the crew chiefs. Now, on Sunday, on FS1 from North Wilkesboro, the open race at 5, race day at 7, and the all-star race at 8. That's all on FS1. And coming up tonight, all-star qualifying is next over on FS1, followed by the Cars Tour Pro Late Models. You're going to enjoy that at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So a lot of racing to go. Join us over on FS1.
All right, there you have it. Fox Sports 2's coverage is now finished. Fox Sports 1 will take over coverage from here on out at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Friday practice for the Indianapolis 500 is still airing on Fox Sports 1 right now and has been over the last several hours this afternoon, which is why practice was on FS2 for the Cup Series, as they have a couple minutes left of their broadcast, and obviously we'll be getting to the NASCAR side of things shortly. YT Goat, welcome to the stream. Another newcomer into the chat. Willie Bart, welcome to the stream. Too many breaks in the season. Had a break a couple weeks ago. Have another 14. Not a points race. I would assume he was talking about it on the Happy Hour podcast of getting rid of All-Star Race weekend. I didn't tune into it. I was kind of wondering what you meant by Harvick's statements on it. Yeah, had an off week on Easter. On from here on out. I think we're all for North Wilkesboro Speedway still staying on the NASCAR schedule. I do agree in the sense that they have to get a points race here at some point in time. I think a full points race with a full field on the racetrack at the same time would make for a lot better of an event than half the field on a just over half-mile oval. You don't really get into lap traffic as much, and lap traffic is what helps make short track racing as good as it is. And maybe not with this car specifically, but a lot of that has to do with the cars being so equal and it takes so long just to get into lap traffic. I feel like even on these half-mile short tracks nowadays, outside of the random, MBM car or Rick Ware car that might be running in the field that day, it might get lapped several more times than anybody else. A lot more practice still to come for the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow. We will go live first at 1:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. They'll be at North Wilkesboro Speedway this weekend. Xfinity Series is going to be off, and we will be live tomorrow night as well for the NASCAR Cup Series heat races, which will set the starting lineup from everything outside of the front row for Sunday's main event. Qualifying today is specifically for the pit crew competition. $100,000 bonus will be going to the fastest pit crew time, and the front row starters on the qualifying laps plus pit crew time, obviously all together on the qualifying lap, will set the starting lineups for the heat races tomorrow. But again, the top two, the front row, will be locked in for Sunday based off of what happens here. So they won't have to rely on the heat races tomorrow to try to work their way to the front. They'll already be starting on the pole for Sunday. They'll still be in the heat races, and I'm sure they'll take those extra laps, but they won't have to fight for anything, and might only see them run a handful. So coverage again is on Fox Sports 1. It was on Fox Sports 2 for practice if you're wondering visually where you can watch. But obviously you can listen live right here on the channel, as we'll be live for the rest of the night. So things will be finished off.
And you get the pole, guess what? You're going to start on the pole of the heat race and for the All-Star race.
But if you don't do a good job and your pit crew does a good job, they get paid still. So I like them. There's a lot of rules. We just watched practice. This track has really widened out. I think the lap itself is going to play a big role in this.
Yeah, and I think the pit crew itself, if you do win that pit crew competition or wherever you rank, that's how you pick your stall.
It's a 3-lap qualifying procedure. We'll explain after the break. But all the pit crews are here. And boy, there are some nerves. They are ready to shine. We'll see how it all plays out next on FS1.
Yep, going to be starting shortly. Again, 3 laps. You have to make a pit stop at some point in time in that lap. Pit road speed is a thing. So if you speed on pit road as a driver, there will be a deduction to your lap time. I think it's a 30-second penalty is what they give you. Same thing for any pit crew violations, just like you'd see on a typical NASCAR race weekend, uncontrolled tire, whatever happens on pit road over the wall too soon. Normal pit stop procedures, if there's any penalties, there will be a time deduction to the qualifying lap or laps in that said qualifying run for each driver. Saw a handful of them last year with the pit crew competition here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and I'm sure we'll see our fair share with all these teams trying to push for everything they have here today as well. Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason I haven't even gone to North Wilkesboro yet. I would have liked to have gone the first year they came back specifically, but I told myself after going to the All-Star race in 2020 at Bristol that I didn't really want to go to another All-Star race again. You just don't get to see as much racing live in person as what you would going to a normal NASCAR Cup Series race. If I was there the whole weekend, maybe just because I would have seen the truck race the day before and all that, but specifically, if you're only there for the Cup Series, you're going to have it open. You're going to have a main event, but all the laps intertwined are not going to be anywhere near what a full race would be. Plus, you only have half the cars on the track at the same time. It was very weird. I think to add to the weirdness that year specifically is the fact that there were only 30,000 people in the grandstands because it was the first race when they came back from COVID. With fans in attendance, that is. I was just itching to get to the racetrack because it had been so long before that. And Bristol's my favorite racetrack, so kind of the combination of the few kept me going back to Bristol. It was actually the first time I'd ever been to Bristol Motor Speedway, believe it or not. And up until last year, been there every year since. Going to be there again this summer for the playoff race. Yeah, 4-tire pit stops, obviously. And as far as the gassing goes on the pit stop, you just got to engage, disengage. For fuel purposes. We don't have to wait till the car is necessarily full of fuel before taking off. Open entries for this weekend got Noah Gragson, Justin Haley, Ty Dillon. I was going to go through the list and then it disappeared on me. That graphic was so quick, didn't even have enough chance to look at everything on FS1. All right, so our first car is going to hit the racetrack for qualifying. That will be the 66 of Chad Fincham, who's in an open entry car for MBM this weekend. Fincham has one start this season in the NASCAR Cup Series and looking for an all-star entry this weekend. Just looking to click away laps really at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Probably don't expect him to necessarily have a good run, but the pit crew still has a shot to go for 100 grand, so here we go. Clean opening lap for Fincham. Really on the pit crew. Obviously, he's not going to be anywhere near the pole time for the open cars. I think one of the cool things with North Wilkesboro Speedway, too, is because pit road is so close to the actual racing surface, I feel like you're right on top of it in the grandstands. So kind of a neat track to have this pit crew competition take place at. I'm trying to get the leaderboard up for qualifying, by the way, on the screen, and I can't show anything right now. So as soon as that becomes available for us, I'll let you guys know. This team obviously not pitting cars every weekend, so probably not going to be nearly as quick as some of the other teams. 17.075. Now, it's from the time that the race car enters the pit box to the time it exits the pit box will be the total pit road time. So it does account on the driver getting in and out of the box as fast as they can, as well as the 4-tire stop by the pit crew to get the pit crew that extra $100,000 bonus, which is at stake here today in the pit road / pit crew competition. The overall 3-lap time for Chad Fincham. Waiting for that to show on FS1's graphic. 94.025 on the 3-lap average, and again, just over 17 seconds on the pit stop itself. Cody Ware will be up next in the 15 for Rick Ware Racing. And this is an open entry this weekend because Harrison Burt will be driving in the All-Star race in the 51 car for Rick Ware Racing, specifically. Harrison Burton locked into the All-Star race with his win in the Summer Daytona race last season, so to get Cody Ware a chance to qualify for this weekend's event. He obviously has to go his way through the open and in an open car as well. Adds another car to the field, so I guess I'm not complaining. More cars we see any given race weekend, I think the better. This will be the first start for Harrison Burton in a Cup car this year, although it's not going to count towards the season statistics. Cody Ware down onto pit road. Currently the second lap of qualifying is the pit lap. You run one complete lap, pit on the second lap, and then on your out lap coming back to the start-finish line would be the third. Larry McReynolds right up in all the action on pit road. Picker looking pretty speedy here for the Rooker Racing team. Much faster. That was pretty respectable. 15.794 on the pit stop. Again, that's time in to time out of the box. Pretty solid. It's not going to win it, but it was a pretty solid pit stop there for the Rooker Racing team. And as Cody finishes up his lap, overall time much slower than Chad Fincham by about 5 seconds. So on the racetrack, Fincham quicker than Cody Ware. In the pits, the pit crew was faster for that 15 bunch. Ended up being a 99.791 overall. Shane Van Gisbergen, first chartered entry now to hit qualifying this weekend, the 88 for Trackhouse. See what he can do.
It's a complete lap one.
Lots of braking right there, sliding the tires into the timing line right there.
Well, those are hard. That's a hard entry. Anytime it's flat like that, you can't get a good depth perception on it. And he stayed very low on pit road to the inside of pit road, coming around 3 and 4. That's what it is. Pit crew has ranked this season. We'll show you that on the full time.
Oh, 13.175 on the pit stop.
Yeah, and you see, he stayed right next to that white line. And I think that's just not going all the way out to the wall plane, not wasting time, just trying to be efficient with the distance and stay next to the line. And I think that will allow them to use their straight line speed on that last corner, staying next to the line instead of making a bigger arc.
Well, let's see if the stopwatch likes it. That gets where he goes to the top, 128.6.
You want to? Haircut.
Cole Custer making his second open appearance. Had a 7th in the open in 2022. And twice he's been in the All-Star race.
Yeah, and as I start to look at these guys' rankings, Cole ranks 26th on the pit entries. Pit crew ranks 13th overall. So definitely needs to concentrate based on his stats there, getting onto pit road. A big key to making good lap time there.
So that's how he matches up against the other 35 full-time charter teams.
Maybe this time.
13 best pit crews for a single car team is pretty impressive.
It'll be 4 yellow at the line.
Seemed pretty tame right there, Clint. Same strategy next to the inside line there, just to keep from having to it's just a little bit of distance.
You say conservative, all I can see is 10 seconds in front of me.
You're thinking about the penalties.
2, 1 right here.
Oh, trouble on the right rear.
And that's going to be the case. I mean, we've talked about it all year. All these stops are right on the edge of being a disaster. And if you don't take every little bit and try to get every little bit, somebody else is going to get it all today and put it all together. A lot of pieces to put together on these qualifying laps, on the pit stops, on the racetrack.
Yeah, you're gonna lie.
132, moves to second. Which should be the problem there, on the right side. Took a while to get that on that straight. You know, when we went to the center lock wheel and the single front nut, I know a lot of people thought, okay, pit stops are going to be easier now. It's only one nut. Well, before you had a chance of getting 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, but now you got one shot to get it right on each corner, and it's pass or fail.
Yeah, with all those pins that locate the wheel on the backside and the timing of the jack drop, I mean, we've had more trouble with pit stops because they're faster. There's a lot of things that can go wrong when you make that pit stop faster.
It's a thing of beauty when they go right. It's just one little mishap throws everybody off.
There's Riley Hertz, the rookie making his first All-Star Open appearance.
Second year, all green.
Well, you see some smoke right there. Walk the tire just a little bit.
Now, 4 red.
He's staying way wide around 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I think, just it's that distance that you have to come down to get to the pit box right there when you're down against the line. So, I mean, you're splitting hairs, but we'll see how it works out for Riley.
And the importance of stopping right on that sign, because pit crew members are already in position when you get there. So stopping up right on the sign is critical.
Holding all green. Holding all green. Go hard, go hard.
Second reversed. 129.65. Noah Gregson will be next. This will be his third All-Star Open. And the 35 was speeding in one section of the road.
There's 10 seconds.
10-second
That's
penalty.
a lot. This seems like a lot. So we took off around up there. But he moved down to, well, just moved down one spot for
One good hard one. Yeah, last two. Coming to the green.
Well, his team and his entry and everything, they're right in the teams right there as far as their ranking across the board.
Thanks to Racing Insights for all of our pit stop ranking data using raw data supplied by NASCAR.
Yeah, you see that on-track lap right there with the 88 of Van Gisbergen, a little bit better through the middle of both corners.
Time on counter 2.
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen really rolled the bottom of the corner well.
I think because of the track and how it widened out, what we saw in practice, a lot of people running different lines. You saw that right there with the Ghost Car.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of options. We've seen different options on pit road. We've seen high, we've seen low, we've seen all different sorts of strategies on the racetrack. So really like where we are with the track itself, and we'll see what strategy pays off the most as Noah goes into his pit stall.
Look here.
Good affirmative getting into the box, slid to stop it, have to slide it, to stop and slide. You want to be consistent with that stop when you come in.
You see that right there, Clint? He turned that wheel to the left. You can actually see that left front tire cocked, and that's that extra line on the steering wheel inside the car. So as the guys go from the right to the left, you'll actually turn that wheel to get it so that it's in the best position to get it off without hitting the fenders or anything.
Well, already the pit stop times are faster than last year's winner. This shows how things evolve over time here in the Cup Series. Grace moves to second. 129.59. Pit crew's hard at work and in the spotlight for stardom, including our own Larry Mack.
Here they are.
All right. Commercial break on Fox Sports 1 with the on-air coverage of Pit Crew competition / qualifying, which is currently going on for the NASCAR Cup Series All-Star Race weekend at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Leaderboard on NASCAR.com has not been working since qualifying started for the open drivers. My hope is that it will be working by the time the main event drivers get their chance to qualify. We're only 6 drivers in of the open qualifying so far. Still have 12 more to go. And this is obviously setting the starting lineup up for the open race, the drivers who will have to race their way into the main event on Sunday evening. We'll be live for that at 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and obviously these drivers are not going to be in the heat races, which will only be the main event drivers who are locked into the show for tomorrow. So 3 straight days of Cup Series action on the channel and at North Wilkesboro Speedway, but the open drivers after qualifying today will not see the track again until 5 p.m. Eastern for their race on Sunday. Top 2 will advance into the main event, and a fan vote will award a 3rd driver from that open to get in as well. We'll take a quick break while we're waiting for coverage to continue on Fox Sports 1. You're listening live on KRC. Tornado watch. Kyle Lance, stay safe, man. Definitely saw there's some nastier storms that were a little bit more south of where I live. I was supposed to have thunderstorms today from like 3 to 5. They were supposed to pop up. Never rained. I was adamant about trying to get that lawn mowed before the rain came at like 3 o'clock. It never came. Never rained the entire time. I was also kind of wondering with going live and streaming during that. Hopefully it wasn't going to knock the power out or anything like that. And it, like I said, it didn't even rain. Missed me entirely. It did pick up with the wind quite a bit, but stayed away. I've logged out of NASCAR.com, logged back into it. We've had issues like this in the past. I will say we didn't have it as much with the raw feed this year compared to last season where it happened pretty frequently with the Cup Series. A lot more frequent than you would hope. All right, for the Pit Crew Challenge, 12.669 is our fast time so far for the 4-team pitting Noah Gregson's car.
The stop time, those 10-second stops that we have during the race, it's from the pit box before the stop to the pit box after the stop. So it includes entering and leaving the pit box in that time that you saw. Here's Ty Dillon making his 7th open start. He's finished 8th or better in every one of his previous starts with the best of 2nd in 2019.
You can see Ty using that lower line like SVG did there on his qualifying lap, able to maintain a lot better, launches it in the corner, loses all that time.
City gains it back from the exit. He ran the outside. Didn't. These calling cars have been very impressive this show.
Pit road. Eight blue here. 8 blue. Back your 9 green here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On your left.
See him stop way short in that box lane. You see that orange tape on the ground, so he missed that marker.
What does that do? That throws those pit crew guys off too. That hurts their time. The timing and all that, everything has to be in sync. And when that car stops either deep or short, throws the sync off of everybody.
Now he's 100 RPM less than a lot of drivers have been down the straight section of pit road.
Yeah, and that's going to cost him time. And as we look at his rankings, I mean, he's definitely been let's see. Pit road roll, he ranks about 33rd.
Third at 1:31:44. Died on. Eric Jones will be next. He'll be making his 6th start in the Open with a best finish of 2nd in 2018. He's been in the All-Star race 4 times, best last year, and was the fan vote winner in 2022.
You see Eric get right after it off pit road. He was no tire warming, just launch hard and go as hard as you can into turn 3.
Well, I kind of like it. I'd like it for 2 reasons. Not only do I want those tires warmed up, I need the brakes warmed up so I can get on the pit road as fast as I possibly can. A lockup will kill your entry speed.
You run a Mountain Dew car in North Wilkesboro, all those Darrell Walker, the Junior Johnson fans have been cheering for you.
Yeah, you heard
It's
it
a
on
good
the
first
rev
lap.
limiter. Yeah, good first lap. And on the rev limiter, we heard a couple cars.
I got 5 red.
Ooh, he knew he was. You saw him kind of veer down to the inside right there with that tire locked up. He knew he was too fast. Tried to get that thing low down.
Ben Bayshore's crew ready to go to work here.
Problems with the gun.
Right rear tire there. Had trouble getting it off. Yeah, you're right about that RPM. We see that's 3,700 RPM. It shows you exactly how far off that tip front was of Ty Dillon. So a couple hundred RPM, that's a big difference on the speed.
Well, especially going back to him, Kevin, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I said those calling cars have been impressive. If there's a weak link with those cars, in particular, the team, we need to get better on pit road, driver and crew.
Jones with that problem on the tire change, 5th at 1:35.5.
Yeah, you saw a lot of sparks flying right here on this right rear tire.
Oh,
Started
man.
right there.
Trip 3.
Yeah, and we talked about that before this whole competition started. The ground being slick, you can see.
Oh, right there in the dust.
Yeah.
You can see the dust move. You can see the spot right where his foot hit and got in that dust and it took his footing right out from under him.
And that camera work right there will lead all these pit crews, see him blowing it off. Everybody's going to learn from that.
Justin Haley making his 5th Open start. 2 top 5s in his last 3 starts. 1 All-Star race.
Justin has been pretty good. He ranks 12th getting onto pit road, on and off of pit road. So been solid with his braking and his acceleration. It matters tonight. It matters every week, but tonight for the competition under different bike, it really matters. Higher entry there.
Good Shane Van Gisbergen got on the pit road. See that ghost car? He's beat everybody so far, obviously. That's been the difference.
Well, we know how good of a road racer he is. So getting onto the under the braking, that doesn't surprise us. We talked about how it was sliding tires and maybe locking up a little bit, but we know about that left foot managing that clutch.
This gear all blew out.
Right side looked pretty good. Haley stopped right on the mark.
Where did this one? First gear open. That's the line you haul at?
First gear. Everybody else was using 2nd so far.
Yeah, we'll hear how this car accelerates and see if that's any advantage. That's always the problem with first gear to me, is it's so short and once the buzz the tires and then you have to pull the gears.
it did look like he spun the rear tires a bit.
So that you don't have to waste the time
Accelerating.
shifting and you don't have to worry about the wheel spin.
Well, in the RPM, there's always a difference in the lag. Whoa, hold on to it. There's always a lag in the RPM at different RPMs, is what I'm saying. Sometimes that thing bucks and kicks and maybe wants more RPM or less.
3rd for Haley, 1:30.49. Ty Gibsby next. It's his third All-Star Open with a worst finish of second. In 2023, he advanced to the All-Star race from the Open each year. In 2024, he led every lap in the Open.
Yeah, and Ty's full speed he ranks 15th in that. His pit crew has been spot on this year. Second in the best 4-tire stop all over that rev limiter. So that means he got off of turn 12 really good.
Ran high as well. And his team won the Pit Crew Challenge 2 years ago, but then that crew moved over to Christopher Bell and won it again last year.
Bump that rev limiter, getting in a 302 cabin. Here we go. This is going to be a fast stop.
Up at that time. 3, 2, 1, march. Second, 2 green, right here.
So the thing that I learned right there is running that high line, coming to your pit road, that distance of being up top matters. It looked like he lost all that difference running the high line through the middle of 1 and 2, and then he was too high getting to the pit road entrance.
I don't think his entrance was very good either. It could have been because of the angle.
Second ranked Pit Crew out of the 36 full-time teams.
Problem on the right front, though.
Bit of a hiccup there. On that right front tire had to wait just a beat.
Are you ready? Here, no. Go back, second, all green.
Oh, 3,800. I hope that's not too much. It was only for an instant.
A lot of trouble with the wheel spin right there. Had to manage the throttle.
Right here.
Fourth, 130.91. Let's show you that right front issue here.
Didn't come
The
out.
nut wasn't.
I don't think
Or it got hung up there. Or something happened.
I think the nut was off, but the wheel was.
Yeah, just
may not have had the wheel line back.
Just couldn't get that right front tire off cleanly.
AJ Allmendinger in his 12th All-Star Open, one of 8 drivers with multiple Open wins, 2008 and 2018.
Yeah, and as I look at these stats, so they're very similar to the when you look at the roll speed and pit crew rank 27, 27, 26. So definitely a little room for improvement on that side of things.
Shane ran on his qualifying lap.
So see right there, that lower 1 lane lower. But the braking is really where he makes it up. 1 lane lower through the corner. He was higher down the straightaway. You're right. You can say it. It's okay.
Well, I was with you. I thought he did have a lower entry. And by the way, this is a good road racer too.
Yeah.
Very good braking. Don't forget that.
A lot of trouble. Right rear tire,
Oh,
guys.
we gotta go down.
A lot of hiccups on the pit crew.
We see that each and every week with these pit crews. About every stop with somebody. That wheel gets hung up or doesn't align right with the pins behind it, and it will not go.
See that car sliding around a lot right there up the racetrack.
10th for Allmendinger.
I am very impressed with Gisbergen and his team holding on as strong as early as they went out. We document this every week, Kevin, in qualifying. The track cleans up, they go faster. I mean, I know he did a good job coming to pit road. Pit crew did their job, but that lap was good too.
It was, and you see that on the tracker when we're tracking it. I mean, the timed lap and the speed of the car was solid, like you're saying.
Todd Gilliland for front row, making his 4th All-Star Open start. Has a best finish of 8th in the opening 2022 was not at the speed in practice.
Yep.
And Allmendinger driven too many pit boxes on exit. Another 10 seconds added will not change his position.
I was going to say there was so much wrong at that point, it didn't even matter.
Bad to worse. Or worse, worser.
Look at that, Clint. 2 car lengths right there, just in the braking zone itself.
Okay, 3, 2, now telling 5, 4, 3.
You're allowed to drive through what? Three pit boxes, entering or leaving. And that's just, that rule is in there for safety. No reason to.
Oh, left rear.
Oh, the nuts off.
Yeah, and left their tires off.
That rule keeps you from parking on the concrete too. Have the ability. Okay, and I believe the car was out of the box when they reattached it, so that's likely to be a penalty on top of the time lost.
Russian roulette, boys.
So I like this angle right here.
That's why we left it.
Well, here's the problem. So Kittle with 142.8 without the penalty.
Like the Fox camera work there where he cut away from the shot that Clint Boyd wanted to dissect there. He's like, I love this camera shot right here. And then they cut away from it. And then Kevin Harvick's like, yeah, that's why we cut away from it. That was great. All right, qualifying continues for Open. Qualifying specifically. Shane Van Gisbergen, top time of our first 12 drivers to go out and make their 3 laps of qualifying. With the pit stop combined somewhere in those 3 laps, specifically on the second. Very curious to see what exactly is going to go down with these final 6. Is Shane Van Gisbergen's time going to be able to hold up? He's got almost a second put up over second place Noah Gragson. Quite a few mistakes have been made by the pit crews on pit road of the first 12 qualifiers. We'll get to see the better pit crews in action when we get into these bigger teams a little later on. Because even the 54 team had a little bit of a hiccup with the right front tire not coming off quite as well when the tire changer tried to pull the old tire off with the new tire on. Got caught up on the right front fender just a bit. And we usually see, obviously, Joe Gibbs racing one of the bigger teams. 54 car. And that team had won the Pit Crew Challenge 2 years ago. Though not the same team pitting the car this weekend. Christopher Bell's pit crew from last season, this season, would have been that pit crew that was on the 54 2 years ago. So Gibbs is going to be starting mid-pack for tomorrow's Open, and he has not finished any worse than the top 2 positions in that said Open race the last 2 years. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for him tomorrow to try to race his way in. Does he get it? Curious to see if he can maybe end up getting the fan vote that could get him in as well. Don't want to have to rely on that if he could help.
Welcome back to the Mechanics Wear Pit Crew Challenge and All-Star Qualifying in North Wilkesboro. Shane Van Gisbergen, right now the best All-Star qualifier, and Noah Gregson's team, Drew Blickenserver, still leading the Pit Crew Challenge, which includes all 38 team here leaderboard. Zane Smith, this will be Zane's second All-Star Open. He finished 17th last year. And he's also on a rev limiter block going into one.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the normal, and a lot of times when they figure these speeds, maybe the speeds are a little bit higher than what NASCAR anticipated with the gear ratio, but you know,
Definitely. To follow up, Todd Gilliland had a penalty, as we noticed, for pitting outside the box, reattaching that lug nut, and then a speeding penalty in one section added to it.
look at that.
Nice.
Zane had a great lap and gave it all
Stay
up.
low.
Yep. All right, no penalties.
All right.
It's had a clean stop.
Yep, and team, here we go.
One here.
Not bad.
All green on the one.
A little bit of a hang up there on the left rear, just a little bit, but no major catastrophes.
How about how he locked those tires up leaving the box? It didn't just blow the tires off by spinning or anything. You know, perfect. Perfect RPM match, drop the clutch. That's hard to do.
Well, sure, wheel
Don't spin
spin,
too much.
wheel spin is time lost.
That's right. And then the other, you kill it. Not enough RPM, and you dump the clutch and it'll stall.
Very nice. Third place. 130.47.
Yeah. Smooth stop, smooth all around. I think it's really easy to overthink this and psych yourself out of these, big moment situations like this.
Oh, for sure. I mean, how many times? I can think back to several times where you just overthink everything that's happening, and a lot of times there's just so much different happening. You have to think about it, and then you inevitably screw something up.
Wide open.
I never liked that.
Overthought that every time.
Yeah.
I always thought, I got him. And then I didn't.
When there was no speed limit and you would blow through that pit box
22 or 3.
20 miles an hour too far and go 5 boxes past them.
I'll be back here to see you guys.
It was worse than having to put that thing in reverse and back up to him.
Michael McDowell making his 9th appearance in the All-Star Open.
This would be a good lap. They have unloaded fast race cars each and every week as we go through practice sessions. Qualifying has been good for them.
Yeah.
But look how, again, Van Gisbergen grabbed that bottom in 3 and 4, and it's really, when he, at the start finish line, with his exit of 4, is at least a car length ahead of him. Smoke team coming on a pit road.
Pull back down to all green, one red in 3 and 1 now.
Yep, you got to back the pit road speed down when it goes back straight.
3, 2, 1.
Now, he was about a foot short. You saw the right front tire changer had to adjust his position and move 6 inches of work to the left. But all that takes time.
It takes a little bit of time, but they didn't have any massive mistakes. Had a pretty good pit stop. I didn't see any of the tires have any trouble getting hung or anything. So,
They have the fastest stop at 12:58.
Right.
look at that clip. That's the first time I've noticed how good the launch was for SVG. He was really low on the racetrack, but his acceleration was really good compared to McDowell right there.
Yeah, I'm loving this ghost car all the way around. It's really showcasing how well Ginsberg did in certain areas of the track, because this pit stop was certainly faster with McDowell.
So McDowell goes to third at 129.61. See how the front changer had to lean over, move just a little bit. However, they are the fastest pit crew so far.
As long as they can just move their hands, I think they're okay. When they have to completely readjust with their knees and their feet, they're in big trouble. He knew it. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Well, and that just shows you the grit and determination and how much it means to these pit stop guys. When they put it all together right there, they were just like, yeah, we nailed it.
Well, here's his Spire Motorsports teammate Carson Hocevar. This will be Carson's second All-Star Open. He started and finished 10th last year.
Well, you see Carson paid attention to what SVG did through 3 and 4, running that low line.
Yeah, beat him just a tick.
Or you ready? What do you get there? Or you ready?
Not bad.
No.
All right, pit crew, let's see what you got.
Try your all greens. You're gonna cut like that. All green. All green. 3 boxes in and out. Wheel straight. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right here.
A little easy getting into the box.
Easy and a little bit short as well. Crew looked good on the right side.
Solid stop.
Well, we'll see.
Puts his crew third quickest overall so far, so we'll see how Carson can finish this lap. We talked about the acceleration. Off of pit lane right here. See that 88 car just hang a left. Stay a little lower. Yeah, he hangs a left and stays lower, and that's gained him like 5 car lengths on a bunch of people so far. See Carson fire that thing off into turn 3, though.
Second, probably.
Second for Hocevar. 128.88.
2/10.
And third in the Pit Crew Challenge.
2/10 is the difference between Van Gisbergen and Hocevar for the top spot.
Crowd filling in the grandstand here to enjoy All-Star qualifying, and then the Cars Tour Pro Late Model race that is coming up later tonight. You will see it too, right here on FS1.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. It's actually the late model stock race tonight. We had the pro late race tonight. And the only reason I say that is all the people around here, they know exactly what those late model stock cars are, and that's why there's a bunch of people to show up and watch qualifying and those late model stocks run tonight on FS1.
John Hunter Nemechek making his third All-Star Open. Best finish of 8th in 2020. Has a couple of back-to-back top 10 finishes heading into All-Star weekend.
Yeah, good first lap right here on the racetrack. Stayed low.
Second gear, hybrid.
Man, it really showcases his talent coming on pit road. Almost each and every one of these guys.
So those numbers and colors that the spotter's calling out is the lights on the dash.
That's right. Yeah, you'll have every driver's a little bit different, but they're calling out the pit road RPM and however that driver has it set with their lights.
Getting in the right front block.
And I know we've been down this path a long time, but we have a new viewer. The reason we use lights versus the number, what you normally see on a tachometer, is the filter system. It just refines that filter down even more fine than what a tachometer can do to get every last ounce out of your pit road times.
Yeah, because let's just say it's 35 miles an hour. NASCAR gives you 5 miles an hour, so it makes it 40, and you want to run 39.9. So
999.
That's right.
Nemechek is 7th. His pit crew is in 10th position right now after this. Difficulty. That tire get hung on the fender. There's a little fender damage from the outside, but
Part of me thinks it might be the fender. Part of me thinks that the jack wasn't exactly all the way up. It may have been a combination of both. But that right front damage probably didn't hurt it or help it any.
2 drivers to go. Here is Ryan Preece in his 5th All-Star Open. He's finished 4th and 8th in the 2 opens at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, and you can really tell the guys that get a good run off of turn 4, because if they don't hit the rev limiter, they haven't got their car up to speed and got a good exit off of turn 4 to the green flag. So you see Ryan right here got a good car and a half, 2 car lengths on Shane.
Wednesday night, Ryan was racing his modified up at the Monaco Tri-Track Series event at Thompson, Connecticut.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Massive difference between the braking right there.
Well, it shows you all these guys, especially these guys that are going out later, had the benefit of watching some of these guys run on the racetrack. They've learned the mistake there. But that back one, the entry to pit road, that is a hard one to overcome. You tell yourself and get yourself pumped up, ready to do it. Saying is one thing, doing is the other.
So the pit crew do a good job. good clean stop, and you go back to that braking clamp. I mean, that's just, we know, as Priest goes fourth quick there with his pit crew, we know that SVG is just really, really good at the braking, and what we have right here really showcases the talent that he has to be able to do that on the brakes.
Another separation there on the launch off of pit road. Shane pulled away from him as well.
Yeah, between the braking and the launch, that's really where most of the time has been gained over the competitors.
So Priest is fifth. Pit crew was fourth. There's Shane Van Gisbergen. He is fastest so far.
One more to
His
go.
Pit crew fifth quickest. One driver to go. And it is Bubba Wallace making his sixth open start. Twice he has advanced to the All-Star race from the open.
Was third in practice. A lot of speed out of this race car just a little bit ago.
Well, he was third in practice, but he's got the best pit crew on pit road.
There you go. He's going to have to do his job, though. I don't know if the pit crew is going to bail him out of a deficit coming on and off of pit road.
Well, if they can't, they still just want to put themselves on the top of that challenge leaderboard right there and try to take that money. That's right.
The driver can't take this one away from us.
Pretty good time, pretty good time. Get your bias for you, bias for you.
Sure has a good lap going.
When he's talking about that bias, he's talking about the brake balance. Driver has the availability to adjust that brake balance inside the car.
Whoa,
That had to have been speeding.
definitely outran Shane. Did he get too much, Kev?
I think he was
Sure
speeding.
looked like it.
3, 2, 1, all green, white, 5.
Here's number one pit crew in the business going to work right here.
Back here.
And again, just about 6 inches of a miss there on the.
Oh, the hose is caught underneath the.
Where the right front changer was
A
situated.
little trouble.
Yeah, the hose got caught underneath the splitter. Front tire changer.
Had trouble on the left side coming around. They were a little slow. I saw the left front guy had to reset his gun, switch directions with it kind of late.
Pit crew was 12.
Not what they were hoping for. A lot of pressure on those guys.
A lot of pressure.
You come in ranked number one, especially the last car going out for all the marbles.
Wallace finishes up 6th on the clock.
Shane Van Gisbergen on the pole. Wow.
Top among the open cars.
Oh, that's why.
Hung the hose.
Yep.
And he was speeding coming in, so that'll be a 10-second penalty.
Oh man, that's just an unfortunate
Yeah, that was not.
situation for the crew right there. But we definitely thought he was speeding. He gave it all that he had. They know they gotta get everything that they can, and maybe a little bit more under that braking zone.
Shane Van Gisbergen, fastest of the open cars.
Not the fastest pit time necessarily for the 88 team. That fastest time, I believe, is still for Noah Gregson in the 4. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Actually, I am wrong. This is the 43. Somebody else beat him. I wish Fox would have the fastest time on the screen at all times as basically the one to beat, as the other pickers are getting matched up against it. Needless to say, Shane Van Gisbergen is on the pole for the Open on Sunday evening. Carson Hocevar qualifies second. He'll be starting on the front row with him. And I'm going to stick to my strategy that I've stuck with on these, 9 points paying short ovals clash. And in the case here with the All-Star race and the Open, I'm going to take a guy starting on the front row. Usually I would take the pole sitter. I don't trust Shane Van Gisbergen as much as I trust Carson Hocevar to win on an oval in a race setting. So give me Carson Hocevar for tomorrow's Open race. But congrats anyway, though, to Shane Van Gisbergen for getting the pole. DRM Mateo, welcome to the stream. If you're wondering what's going on with the stream, I appreciate you tuning in. The leaderboard is not cooperating with us here on NASCAR.com, so that's why you just have a white page on screen for any new viewers wondering what is going on here. But yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen on the pole for the Open tomorrow. We'll hear from him in a moment. I'll go through the rest of the starting lineup for the Open as well when we get through with that interview. And again, Carson Hocevar second will be on the front row with him. 20 drivers are locked into the main event for tomorrow's All-Star race, or Sunday's All-Star race, excuse me. And those drivers will be up next for the pit crew competition and qualifying. And that will set the starting lineups for the heat races, which will be taking place tomorrow night. We'll be live on the channel for a doubleheader tomorrow, as well as a doubleheader on Sunday. The Open and main event on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern with our 2 start times for those streams. And tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. At 5 p.m. Eastern, we will be live for the NASCAR Cup Series heat races, which will be airing actually on Fox Sports 2. So if you're unable to watch, be sure to tune in tomorrow right here on the channel. We'll be live for you, and hopefully our leaderboard will be working, because so far it has not been for qualifying so far, and hopefully it will for qualifying when we get to these main event drivers at the very least, because it didn't show the Open drivers in practice for some reason on our leaderboard, so I have hopes that it will work for qualifying. We'll have something up on screen during that time. Here's SVG with Larry Mack.
Really got the job done on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think we finally got all things right. Qualifying's been a weakness. My lap was pretty good, and then coming in was good. Pit stop guys were insane, so really good for them. And thanks to WeatherTech, thanks to the Trackhouse pit crew, and we're up front tomorrow. I've never started at the front for an Open, so I don't know what to do there. I have to learn the rules and see how we go.
They'll learn the rules.
Mike asked me, had you ever seen North Wilkesboro? He said, yeah, for the first time about 3 hours ago.
All right, so we'll start alongside, and we're
great.
your favorite lineup for the Open. We will show you the starting lineup when we come back.
Oh, well, I guess I got to get another commercial in before we can look at the starting lineup for tomorrow. I meant to take a quick picture while the pylon was on the left side of the screen with the graphic on Fox Sports 1, and I missed it right as they were cutting the commercial break by the time I got my camera out. So I guess we'll just have to learn together with our leaderboard off, doing its own thing. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome into the stream as well. Gonna be the last stream you watch live for a month. Well, that stinks. Hopefully everything's going all right for you. We'll be here when you come back, though. $29 likes. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. We got 4 more to come for you, between 2 more tomorrow, 2 more Sunday. We'll take a quick break. More on that in a minute. You're listening live on KRC. Try to log out of NASCAR.com, log back in on another page again. And we haven't had our usual leaderboard up for qualifying. It was fine in practice, but qualifying, for whatever reason, has not been working for us, at least through the Open. And again, Shane Van Gisbergen and Carson Hocevar on the front row with SVG on the pole for the Open race on Sunday. And those Open drivers will not be participating in heat races tomorrow. That will only be the 20 drivers in the main event, 10 in each heat. And whoever gets the pole here today will be on the pole for Sunday and the heat races tomorrow as well. Wade, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Tigers are playing great. Should be within a few minutes from qualifying beginning for the main event drivers. All right, I got the picture this time. Starting lineup for the All-Star Open on Sunday evening, Shane Van Gisbergen and Carson Hocevar will make up row number 1, as mentioned already, both looking to try to make their first ever All-Star race. Noah Gragson with Michael McDowell will line up in row number 2. Each of those two drivers have been in multiple All-Star races in their Cup careers. Ryan Preece with Zane Smith will line up in row 3. Row 4 for Justin Haley, John Hunter Nemechek. Ty Gibbs, who has finished in the top 2 positions to transfer into the All-Star race the last 2 years, is going to have to start back in row 5 on the inside. And again, Ty Dillon to his outside. In row number 6 will be Cole Custer with Eric Jones, Riley Herbst, Bubba Wallace in row 7, Cody Ware, AJ Allmendinger, row 8, Todd Gilliland, and Chad Fincham in row 9, and that will round out our 18-car field for Sunday's All-Star Open. And again, the top 2 drivers from that Open will make it into the main event, and the fan vote will be the 3rd driver from that Open that will also make it into the main event. They'll start in the last 3 positions, 21st through 23rd on Sunday night. David Conley, welcome to the stream. NASCAR always trying to fix things that aren't broken. Does that account for our leaderboard not working on NASCAR.com as well? We need NASCAR tech support. If only it was a thing. Still stage winners? No, it hasn't been stage winners for the All-Star race since they were at Texas. The last couple of years with the race at North Wilkesboro Speedway has just been the top 2. Back to the way it used to be. Top 2 and then the fan vote. 100 laps, I do believe, for the All-Star Open. Main event will be 250 laps this year. It was 200 the last 2 years at North Wilkesboro. Hundred laps, they will not have to pit for fuel or tire purposes. Obviously, you can pit for tires if cautions do come out, but if it stayed green the whole way, not required to have to pit through the Open. Main event on Sunday, that'll be a different story. All right, back from commercial on Fox Sports 1. Fastest pit crew time so far, Michael McDowell in the 71. I knew one team beat the 4, and I couldn't remember. 12.587. I'll try to remember that. Take a picture. It's probably going to disappear on me. Nope, it did not. 12.587 is the top time. SVG's pit crew actually had the 5th fastest time on top of SVG getting the pole. Jamie Little standing with the 24 team's pit crew.
Which fun is this night for all these teams?
Yeah, anytime you come to Wilkesboro, historic track, and be able to showcase our abilities. You know, we work all week, practicing, training for this night, so it's really cool all year long. This is a good opportunity for us to get out here and show what skills we have and be the best in the garage. And I think, you know, we take a lot of pride in that. It's a bragging right, especially after this stop. Obviously, there's some money involved, so that always, you know, sweetens the pot a little bit. But it's a great opportunity. Really just awesome to compete with these guys. You know, I love this team and just love being a part of this team. And tonight we're going to hopefully go show our abilities.
This is your hometown. Ryan, real quick, he burned his hands last week. Mike stuck his hands tonight. How you feeling, Ryan?
The blisters are healed up. Just got one left, but we're ready to roll tonight.
You guys are tough. All right, want to do this? All right, grid on 3. 1, 2, 3, grid.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, All-Star qualifying is next, and we continue the Pit Crew Challenge.
Yeah, you asked me in the chat, Earl, how Rick Ware Racing is in the All-Star race. That's because Harrison Burton is driving for him this weekend. Because Harrison Burton has an entry into the All-Star race, he won the Summer Daytona race. Remember, it's any winner from the last calendar year So from basically spring of last season, Coke 600, to last week, any driver who's won a cup race in that time frame locked into the main event of the All-Star race. And then also, NASCAR's been doing for the last, I don't know what year they started this, but if you won an All-Star race, you are automatically in for the next 10 years as well. So that's why Kyle Busch is in the show this weekend, because he has won an All-Star race within the last 10 years. And I believe he's the only driver that falls into that category this year. Somewhere in the early 2010s, I believe they started that. I'm not sure exactly what year, but yeah, you win an All-Star race, you're automatically in for the next 10 seasons. So in the event of a winless season somewhere in there, like Kyle Busch had last year, he is in. Burton not full-time in Cup, doesn't matter. Shane Van Gisbergen would have been eligible a couple years ago as well, but didn't race. I mean, you can choose not to race, or if you don't have a ride to race in, it's kind of a tough luck scenario. Nobody can basically take that spot for you, but it doesn't matter if you're a Cup regular or not. If you win a Cup Series race, you're locked into the All-Star race. That's always been that way. Trevor Bayne got it the year he won the Daytona 500 back in 2011. Justin Haley got it several years ago when he won the Summer Daytona race 2019. Alan Jackson, welcome to the stream, who won the pit crew competition. So they're not done with that yet. We're only about halfway there. All the open drivers have made their laps. We have 20 drivers to still make a qualifying run, and that would be every driver who will be in the main event on Sunday nights. So they still have to go out for it. Lynn Crosby, welcome to the stream. AJ got the ride, so SVG missed out, yeah. Because AJ won at the Roval in 2022, so that locked him in that season. 23, excuse me, not 22. All right, so our first qualifier for the main event is just on their way to leaving pit road right now. I do not have the qualifying order up on screen because, again, the raw feed has been down through qualifying. Harrison Burton will be the first driver out to qualify for Rick Ware Racing in the 51. They won the Daytona 500, they'd be in any points race. Any points race from the Coke 600 this year. So from next week through next year, the week before the All-Star race, any driver who wins in that time frame is locked into the All-Star race. Josh Berry, the reason why he's in is because he won earlier this season. Got his first career win. He's locked in, winning at Vegas. He's the only driver, I think, that falls under the category that didn't win a race last season that has won a race so far this year. All right. So, again, the pit road time for Michael McDowell's pit crew from open on the $100,000 bonus for the pit crews was a 12.597. So I'll watch for that intently for you guys because there's, again, no graphics up on screen, unfortunately, through qualifying on NASCAR.com, which, again, is so weird because it was working during practice, but qualifying it is not. It's probably because it's not traditional qualifying. It's probably why it's not working. 17.044 in the pit stop for Harrison Burton in that 51 team for Rick Ware Racing. Again, 20 drivers will qualify, and the starting lineup for the heat races will be set based off of the 3-lap qualifying time total. Pit crew competition is only the pit stop in general, and if you're wondering why the pit stops, again, are slower than what they would usually be, the pit stops are timed from pit box before to pit box after when entering and leaving the pit box for that 4-tire stop. Overall time of a 94.432 for Harrison Burton of our first qualifier. 19 to go. And up next will be Justin Allgaier, who is driving for Kyle Larson. Larson at Indianapolis in preparations for the Indy 500 with practice sessions that have gone on the last couple of days. Larson will be in Indianapolis tomorrow as well. Allgaier will not be heat race for tomorrow with Larson having to start at the back. They don't want to wreck the primary car. But was in practice earlier today and now in qualifying. Obviously, the pit crew still has a chance for the $100,000, and we know that they're very good on that 5 team. So we'll see what Allgaier can do to try to help him out. JC, welcome to the stream. Done with the Melon Man. Not pulling for Ross Chastain anymore. It's interesting. It's because he's bailing out on Trackhouse. Is that what it is? Had him under scrutiny. Or lack of speed recently. Definitely been a tough start to the year, and really all through last year, Trackhouse wasn't what they were the year before that. Even though Chastain got a win late in the season, still missed the playoffs. Problems on the pit crew, left side. Looks like the jack wasn't getting jacked up very quickly, and that's going to cost them 17.722 second stop for the 5 team, driven again by Justin Allgaier. Will be quicker than the overall 3 laps by Harrison Burton. The pit stop itself was slower. Allgaier was very loose in practice earlier and seems to be that way on his qualifying lap as well. 94.949 for Allgaier, so Harrison Burton in that 51 still on top out of the first 2. Okay, so they dropped the jack too soon. The left rear was not on securely. Maybe the car fell off the jack. I think the car fell off the jack and then he rejacked it. Looking at the initial replay. 6 of Brad Keselowski is now on track for qualifying. Qualifying lap is quicker for the 6 than it was for the 51 or the 5. But now it'll be up to the pit crew, as well as that timing to get on and off of pit road by the driver as well. Well, the pit entrance was huge into why Shane Van Gisbergen getting qualified on the pole for the Open, which took place in the last hour. And SVG Carson Hocevar will be on the front row for the Open in that 100-lap event, 5 p.m. Eastern Sunday. Pretty quick on the right side. It looked like the tire carrier was a bit slow trying to pick that tire up. It was still pretty quick, but it might have been the difference in having the fast time or not. 13.081. I think that hiccup by the tire changer might have gotten him, because otherwise it was very, very fast by the rest of the crew. So much so that I think he was going to have a great shot. I mean, he should still have the fastest time of the 3 in All-Star qualifying right now, but to beat that 12.597 from McDowell's pit crew for the $100,000 bonus, I think it went by the wayside on that tire carrier. Faster lap than anything we saw in Open qualifying with a minute 27.362. SVG was in the minute 28 second lap barrier. And his gap over Hocevar was 0.2 of a second overall with the 3 qualifying laps. So again, 87.362 the time to beat from Keselowski, and up next will be Daniel Suarez in the 99. Who had a win at Atlanta last season, locking him into the All-Star race. It used to be from the calendar year, maybe it's the entire season the year before. So that was the only win for Suarez a year ago. Remo, welcome to the stream. How many have gone out for qualifying on the main event side? Just 3. 3 of 7 or 3 of 20, 17 still to go. And again, our order is not showing up on NASCAR.com. So there's just been a blank screen for the entirety of qualifying for the Open and now for the main event drivers as well. Clean entry to pit road for Suarez. Fastest on pit entry and pit exit all season so far for the driver, the 99. Their pit crew overall rank is 7th. .631 thousandths of a second, the difference between the 99 and the 71. And McDowell's pit crew still remains the fastest there. But overall, between the qualifying lap, pit entrance, pit exit, Daniel Suarez will be the top of our 4 drivers in All-Star qualifying. Fastest lap we've seen yet. Open or All-Star qualifying in general. Team Trackhouse has it covered right now between SVG and now Daniel Suarez. 86.930. Just over 0.4 of a second quicker for Suarez than what Keselowski had. That's crazy, though. 3 thousandths of a second. The difference there for McDowell's crew and Suarez's crew. Oh, it looks like a mistake for Daniel Suarez's
By the
crew.
way, you know what second place pays in the pit crew challenge?
Might have been speeding.
Congratulations. Have a nice race.
Might have been speeding on pit road for Suarez. Time penalty.
Well, here is Chris Buescher in his 5th All-Star appearance.
Are you sure? I see that Chrome 17 up the side of that car, and I see DW there.
Clint, this is your car, though. You got Tylenol on there.
Chris qualified with his win at Watkins Glen last year, finished an All-Star Fest 3rd 1 year ago.
Everything you need. Grocery, hangover cure, fix the wounds.
Hangover cures and Band-Aids and racetrack. Right.
Right place to do it.
Yep.
Great exit.
Yes, sir.
Off at turn 4, all the way into turn 1.
Did a good job coming on the pit road. Now remember that 99 car got nabbed for speeding right there.
So Doug Randolph is the crew chief. Scott Graves serving the first of a 2-week suspension. They still have to determine, will they appeal what happened in inspection at the R&D center after last week's race. $3,600 all the way down the straight again, about 100 RPM off.
There we go. Flashed a little bit of 37 right there.
His pit crew was 8th fastest. And Buescher finishes up 2nd at 1:28.27.
RFK.
1-2.
1-2, 1 second apart.
Oh, you know, I thought that RPM looked a little high coming onto pit road, and it was. He was speeding in the first segment.
Remember, we're going to change it there, but that ghost car that we were using as the gauge, he got caught speeding. And I knew when he was as matched or even better than him a little bit, chances are that wasn't going to be good.
That's why we left it up there, Clint, because we thought,
well, it's a good gauge one way or another.
However
you use it is on you.
Yeah. Austin Dillon is in his 5th All-Star race. Remember, he got that win at Richmond last year.
Oh, that's right.
NASCAR penalized him for how he got it, and that took him out of the playoffs. However, the win does retain his All-Star eligibility. So here he is.
Finally paid him back.
That thing left big time too far right there, but that
Now, I like what he did there. He dropped his RPM way down to about 2,900 RPM to try to average it out through that first segment. He knew he was fast coming in, so he dropped it down low so he wouldn't get nabbed.
well,
You're trying to average it out, but
we'll see if his argument works with the police.
yeah, it usually doesn't work.
Warrior for the defense.
That's easy, spot on too. It's not like telling a cop when he wants you.
Well, that was a good pit stop. The pit crew did its part.
It's just by a little bit.
They are 8th on the board at a 13:26 for the stop.
Nice and clean. And the one thing I was going to say, when he was coming off of turn 2, he jerked the car so hard off the wall, it actually left a skid mark. You can see it right there. He just went over it. That's his tire mark.
Wow.
When he turned that car aggressively down the racetrack.
And when that right front locked up, it really threw the car to the left too, when those front tires locked up. All that transition makes it difficult to regaining your composure and your speed. We'll see it with police.
3rd for the 3 car of Austin Dillon. Yep.
He liked it. Hey, okay.
Gentlemen, speeding penalties? Yes, no? No? Haven't heard a word.
It's in court right
I
now.
believe it worked.
That's the best music to ears you ever heard. When you look over,
You're
you see
sitting
those
there waiting.
lights red, and you're like, oh no. You get done with your pit, and you're out there, you're running around, and you're waiting. You don't want to ask, because then you're guilty.
Yeah.
Right? Right. You're like, oh. Then you'll chime in, take your lap time. Like,
And like you said, Mike, he checked up in that section to try to make that average right. And that's what you hope as a driver. And that's why you get quiet, like Clint said. If you're, okay, did I do enough? I know I was fast, but I checked out.
it's the longest couple laps of your life on a racetrack.
He was okay. No penalty. Here is Kyle Busch, his teammate of Richard Childress Racing. This is Kyle's 20th consecutive All-Star race. And he qualifies with an All-Star victory in 2017. He's had 4 All-Star poles, second all-time to Bill Elliott.
Kyle's done a good job all year on his pit road speed rolling average. So
Going to all blue in 3.
Did the same thing as his teammate. Dropped it down from 4,000 down to about 3,200 to average that first section.
yeah, to me it looked like he was a little bit conservative getting to pit road compared to some of them. But we've been watching the ones going too fast.
Felt like the jack was a little slow to raise on the right side.
Soft leave, all red.
16th for the crew out of 25 so far.
Yeah, and that's about right in line. That's about right in line with their best 4-tire stop average. So they rank 17th in that category. So that's pretty much right on par with what they've been doing all year.
Third for Kyle Busch, 131.22. We'll take a break with Brad Keselowski's number 16 at the top of the board.
All right, Keselowski, best so far and qualifying. Daniel Suarez topped that for a brief moment until he was caught for speeding on pit road. So Keselowski is the top time still for the 3-lap timed session. The pit crew fastest so far overall is still Michael McDowell from the open entries of our first 7 main event qualifiers. Still 13 drivers have to make their 3 laps in this qualifying session. We'll take a quick break while we wait for FS1 to come back from this current commercial break. You're listening live on KRC to qualifying for the NASCAR All-Star Race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Fastest time in practice was set by Tyler Reddick earlier today. So if we're looking at maybe the fastest on-track drivers, excluding everything that has to do with pit road entry, pit road exit, pit stop in general, entering, exiting the pit box. Reddick could be the fastest on time there. We'll see how much that might be able to make up. On top of the fact that the pit crew itself will have their time to shine and see what they can do to try to factor into that overall time for qualifying. So our first and only live commentary stream today, but we have 4 more still coming this weekend. Busy, busy, busy on the channel. We got NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. The NASCAR Cup Series heat races at 5 p.m. Eastern later tomorrow evening. And then a doubleheader on Sunday with the All-Star Open at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then 8 p.m. Eastern, our main event, Sunday night, the NASCAR All-Star Race. Busy next weekend as well because, of course, we've got the double, the Indy 500, the Coke 600 all live on the channel Sunday. Saturday doubleheader with Xfinity Series racing, Cup Series practice and qualifying. And then, of course, on Friday with the Craftsman Truck Race. So 5 live commentary streams this week, 5 next week, all for the roundup for the month of May on the channel.
Brad Keselowski, who leads the league getting on and off of pit road, has the fastest qualifying time, 1:27.36, after 7 drivers have qualified. Michael McDowell's crew, led by Travis Peterson, still top the pit crew challenge, $100,000 to win. And here is Josh Berry in his second All-Star race, qualified with the win at Las Vegas. Won the Open in 2023, substituting for Alex Bowman.
Seen a lot of speed out of this car all year. They've done a great job with themselves in victory lane. And we know Josh Berry as a short track racer. And he's, as we go into tonight with the Cars Tour race following qualifying here, this has been one of our stars. Straight out of the Cars Tour, up through the ranks, and now winning on Sunday. So
Berry won the All-Star Open a couple years ago, too.
Participate in this All-Star race.
Josh Berry makes his way down pit road to Steve Post. All right, the one is ready to go to work. 100 miles Stanley.
Stand away. One straight out. Go back to one red. Now.
Problems on the right front. Getting the tire off. Jackman with a little bit of a slip up on the left.
And they were a little slow to get the jack up there, put them 18th quick and on the pit crew side of things.
Third spotter Jason Jarrett, another famous racing family in North Carolina.
Next flag car dancing around.
Took it all, didn't he? 4th fastest. That's quite a pickup. 18th for the pit crew, 4th overall. Wow. All right, Ricky Stenhouse will be next, making his 7th All-Star appearance. His win at Talladega last fall qualified him to be in the big dance Sunday night here.
These guys have done a great job. Haven't had the performance of the car where they wanted every week, but they're finishing races. They're putting themselves in a position to run all the laps, and have made a decent year out of what we've run so far.
Surprised me. I think he surprised a lot of people. Fantastic season so far. If they make the playoffs, that would be well, expectation. And that's not taking anything away from it. It just tells you how important this is. Big bump down there when he ran low on the racetrack.
And you're green now.
And you forget about that bump. They actually took a piece of the wall away and just ground it down to be level with the asphalt. But there's a massive bump right there if you get too low on the racetrack.
Drive away. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All the markings on that right front for the carrier where he had his hand plane. And no.
running your green.
The amount of detail that goes into just the driver's steering wheel placement, the tire carrier, how he has to time that wheel to get it on those dowels, just all the things that are going on with the pit road speeds and the lights and the spotter, when to pit, not to pit, don't stop too short, don't slide the brake. I mean, there's just so many things that go through the routine of making a pit stop and all the things that they're doing tonight.
Well, it's done every week because it's so important. The pit crew was 12th. Stenhouse qualifies 4th right now. Here's that bump you're talking about.
Right there, you can see.
Yeah, it just bottoms out on the splitter and then it just starts bouncing as it starts to rebound and bounce off the ground with that momentum after it hits it the first
You
time.
can definitely see that spot with that wall and code that you were talking about.
Austin Cindric for Team Penske, making his 3rd All-Star appearance. His win at Gateway last year and Talladega this year.
Yeah, the reason that they took that ball out and turned on, the way that this racetrack was when it was the old racetrack, you want to cut right to the end of that wall. So when they came here and tested, that wall actually stuck out a little further than the drivers wanted, and so they took it away. Now nobody even runs down there.
Yeah.
Penske cars were all pretty impressive in practice. Obviously, last year. There's a lot of hope for the Penske playing this. Big weekend for Roger. Even bigger next week.
You see Austin in first gear, so we got a little bit different gear selection right here with this 2-car as he runs down pit road to his pit stall. So we'll see how this works out.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice work by the crew.
Yes, it is.
Just 1288.
Still in first gear, so watch this launch and a wheel spin. Short shift into the.
I think that's time.
Well, it's just that bump to get it going, and he did a good job of.
Too fast entering.
Not gonna matter.
But that launch is still something to pay attention to, Clint. Just that little burst of speed and short shifted into second gear. So
2nd fastest before the penalty. And the 71 crew still on top for that 100 grand. Chase Briscoe makes his 3rd All-Star appearance on Darlington last summer to qualify. Finished 4th in the All-Star race here in 2023.
yeah, you make a good point right there, Clint. Is that first gear and that short shift and not spinning the tires isn't worth the time? Is it better to just leave it in second like we talked earlier and just you can still spin the tires in second gear like you're saying, but is it better to just not waste the time with that first gear?
Well, I think it comes down to the comfort bowling time. You know, you have to go back to what RPM that driver's most comfortable getting the max amount of head. I mean, obviously for him, it's not going to matter.
And I never liked to have that high RPM on pit road. I always felt like it surged more than I liked it to. See Chase really aggressive under banking. That back of that car dancing all over the place.
But he kept it underneath of it. Didn't lock a wheel up. It's good brake modulation out of him.
Now, we may not have his radio, but I never heard his spotter in that whole run.
3,
4, there he is.
Whiz, ask and you shall receive.
A bit short in the pit stall right there. You see those guys have to scoot just a touch.
Pretty quick.
I agree.
Got it. Two 1,000ths of a second.
In the pit crew challenge, 1269. Just 11 100ths off the top 10.
Oh, 50. Yeah, my bad. My bad.
Use first gear off of pit road.
It's about a 10th off.
Just let it go full RPM before he shifted to second gear, maxed it out.
Second for Briscoe. 4th on pit road and 2nd overall. Well done. Ross Chastain will be next. Ross making his 5th All-Star appearance on Kansas last fall. Finished seventh in the All-Star race last year.
Said it earlier, Kevin, and I noticed it right here. Look how low his window tint is. All the way around, right side, windshield.
Yeah, and you see that car dancing all around. A lot of that windshield tint is driver preference. As you see the back of that bush light car slide up off of the corner. A little bit different paint scheme on that bush light Chevy this week. Got a little orange on the hood.
Right down on the bottom of the racetrack at 3 and 4. I think we've all learned from Shane Van Gisbergen in that open practice. That's the fastest way around.
That car is loose.
Trent McReynolds is spot.
Live now.
How he slid to that box, got a good angle for the guys. Nice and close to the wall, but not too far, not too close. Look pretty close.
Halfway through the stop, he cut the wheel to the left to make it easier to get that left front tire off.
Definitely not the stop they were looking for.
Those numbers on the tag look a little high.
Yeah, and he was up a little bit compared to a lot of the guys that had been lower. So we'll see if that extra RPM equates to a penalty at the end, or if that extra distance kept it from being in that zone.
The pit crew is 12th. Chastain's overall time is third, 1:28.88. Yes, speeding on exit.
Yeah, you nailed that one, Mike.
Here's the pole setter from last year, Joey Logano.
Series champ, defending winner of the Stars, making his 15th All-Star appearance.
So what you're saying is he does pretty good.
He does good in those pressure situations too.
Absolutely.
This whole team. You put pressure on them, then they respond.
And you see all those marks on his steering wheel. Those are all the different spots. The orange mark, it comes on the steering wheel stock, so you know when it's straight. The white and the yellow, that's from side to side, where that needs to be straight up and down so that the tire comes on and off for that carrier as easy as possible.
I'm glad you said that. And look how far of a difference that is. The orange is straight up.
Well, pay attention right here. When they go from right to left, you'll actually see the wheels physically move a fair amount of distance as Joey gets on the pit road pretty well.
Are you red now? All your red now.
That looked really good.
Spotman Presley.
Turn in 3, 2, 1, and hold.
Back there on that left rear, so lost some time on the pit crew side of it.
18th for the pit crew.
I will say he was
Why count?
pretty easy coming up into the box. I don't know if that got them off their marks or not, but it's definitely something that I noticed versus the competition we've seen so far.
Last year's pole winner for the All-Star race.
Second white.
Third for Logano, 1:29.25.
I think he did a great job coming on to pit road.
And let's watch the rear here.
And you could see the rubber dust there out from underneath the feet. Have to change it. Watch the dust come out of his foot.
I think those guys aren't athletes. Look what those ankles are going through.
And that's why you wear the knee pads right there.
And that was an unbelievable adjustment he made right there.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely incredible how he went right back to the wheel and it almost as if it didn't even happen. But that's how close these times are.
Alex Bowman for Hendrick Motorsports, making his 6th All-Star appearance, his first since 2022, won at Chicago last year.
Picture guys are saying you take care of you. We're gonna take care of us. And oh no, big right front lockup.
Ready, go.
He might be okay. He dropped it all the way down to 2,900, trying to get the right average in that first
And
segment.
he's against the wall. He hit the wall.
Stop.
Kevin Hamlin, the spotter.
2, 1.
That was quick.
Go, go. How you leaving? Oil.
Not quick.
Good fix,
No,
just stop of the night.
quick.
1281.
That puts it right in line with 6 average. What we having as
Going.
for a pitch.
Yeah, and we see Alex has been 31 on his averages, 31 on his rolling speed. So definitely can make a difference in one way or another. And we saw getting to pit road and locking the tire up and being right against the wall. So there were definitely some errors right there.
Bowman ends up second. 128.36. Keselowski and Bowman fastest so far. McDowell's team leads the pit crew challenge.
Not only McDowell's pit crew leads the pit crew challenge, but we're getting down to the end of it here. We only have 6 more teams that have yet to go out, qualify, get their pit stop in. Can the 71 crew for Spire Motorsports win the $100,000 bonus for the fastest pit crew time? That time to beat so far is a 12.597. So far, so good. And as far as the top time for qualifying to see who will set the pole for the All-Star race on Sunday, as well as their heat race tomorrow, Brad Keselowski, the time to beat currently as well. We'll take our final break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC to NASCAR Cup Series All-Star Race qualifying at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. So again, 6 more drivers have to qualify. Sure, we'll get an interview with the winning pit crew as well as the pole sitter for the All-Star race. We'll go through the starting lineup for the All-Star Open again, as well as the All-Star main event, as soon as this qualifying wraps up here, probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Start times for the rest of this weekend's live commentary streams are as follows. The Craftsman Truck Series race tomorrow is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. That will be our next live stream on the channel. Live commentary for tomorrow night's heat races will also be at 5 p.m. Eastern. That is airing on Fox Sports 2. The rest of this weekend's coverage, Fox Sports 1 for the truck race, and as well as the All-Star Open and main event for Sunday. The All-Star Open main event will have 2 separate streams, beginning with the Open at 5 p.m. Eastern and at 8 p.m. Eastern for the All-Star Race main event. So that will be the schedule for the rest of this weekend. 4 more live commentary streams to go from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Lot to cover.
Denny Hamlin flashes by. Brad Keselowski is quickest so far. Biggest surprise of the whole night. Michael McDowell's pit crew came in here ranked 32nd, and they leaders with a shot to win
Unbelievable.
$100,000 tonight.
You know, this one right here, Denny Hamlin does a great job on pit road, off of pit road, and he has a pit crew that can get it done, and they're used to performing under intense situations. Came up on the rev limiter right there off of locked the right rear tire up just slightly, got it all.
Your spotter, Chris Lambert.
Where you ran now.
New to Hamlin crew chief Chris Gale this year. Stayed low on pit road. And his crew ready to go. Well, big lockup coming in.
Yeah.
Pretty early in the blocks too. Those guys definitely had to adjust for that, but they're fast. These guys are used to this. A lot of experience.
All green.
Not fast enough.
One red to finish. One red.
The pit crew was 22nd.
You definitely can't go as aggressively up on the racetrack as what Denny did right there and jerks the car around. You got to progressively just feed that car up onto the banking low. We've seen that from when SVG went earlier. A lot of guys have done that well. Easy to get that car bucking around.
Hamlin is 6th with a 129.9.
6 out of 15, 5 qualifiers to go. Up next is Tyler Reddick, who was fastest in practice a little earlier on today. Hard to believe that that took place about 2 hours ago from where we're at right now. Full 45-minute practice session for all Open and All-Star entrants for this weekend. So we know he can put down a fast lap. He's going to have to put down 2 fast laps, and he's going to have to be quick getting on and off of pit road, in and out of the pit box. Pit crew is going to have to be perfect as well. Michael McDowell's pit crew still remains the top pit time with a 12.597. As for Brad Keselowski, he has the top qualifying time of the 1 minute, 27 second, .362 lap, or 3 laps on his total time there. And he's got almost 1 second between himself and second place Alex Bowman still. So there's a lot of time to be gained. Keselowski beats Reddick by quite a bit on pit road entry. And it's going to be pretty tough for this pit crew to make up that much time. But we'll see what they can do for the 45 crew. Yet to see Christopher Bell's pit crew. That same team has won the pit crew challenge the last 2 years. They're trying to go for 3 in a row. Crew pitted the 54 2 years ago, and then the 20 team last year as well as this year. Pit crew 14.887 for Reddick, kind of similar to where Hamlin was, so I would expect Reddick to be, I'd say anywhere between 5th and 8th is what I'm going to guess on qualifying. Nowhere near Keselowski's time. Reddick a bit loose off turn 4. I've seen several drivers doing that so far in their outlap leaving pit road. Cold tires. 7th for Reddick. 130.17. McDowell's pit crew fired up. They've got 4 more to go. And they'll be getting $100,000. Ryan Blaney in the 12th team is now on. His pit crew has not been good this season as a Ryan Blaney fan, I would know. We'll see if they can shine here today in All-Star pit crew competition. Pretty good qualifying lap going for Blaney right now compared to Brad Keselowski. On the Ghost Car tracker, he's ahead of him. Down the back straightaway, we'll see how he accelerates off turn 4 past start-finish line. Pretty neck and neck. Entering pit road, Keselowski is very good. And that's where SVG got the pole time in the Open. And they're qualifying earlier. And as far as qualifying here, it seems to be the same. Blaney might have been speeding on pit road because he was well ahead of the 6. More on that in a moment. That's up to the pit crew.
First gear all the way to the box.
That seems to be the Penske choice. A little trouble on the right rear.
He came in and swooped out a little bit. You can see that where the car was pointed out.
Straight first gear.
Not what they were looking.
Not great on the qualifying time, or I should say the pit stop time. Just over 15 seconds. It's going to come out well behind Keselowski. It looked like he might have been speeding coming into the pits. Everything was good until the pit stop. Cost him a few seconds. He's got to be nearly perfect on both, which is why the 6 team is ahead. Fast pit stop, although it wasn't the fastest overall, with a $100,000 bonus, but everything else that Keselowski was able to do behind the wheel was perfect as well. 8th for Ryan Blaney, minute 30.337. 3 qualifiers ago. Here's Chase Elliott.
Tried to check it up to balance that out, but just didn't get it all. Didn't get it moved down enough.
We're running out of contestants.
3 to go.
I'm rooting for these guys at this point.
Chase Elliott makes his 10th All-Star race. He qualified with his Texas win last year. He won the All-Star race at Bristol in 2020.
And I like this format. It gives all these teams, these pit crews, a chance to compete against one another. Open, all-star, it doesn't matter. $100,000 is yours.
But coming in here, could you have believed that the pit crew ranked 32nd would be sitting all evening on a chance to win $100,000?
Reminds me of the 1 or 2 times ever set on the pole of a race. That baby just slid right in a slot perfect, and you pounded it right back to the floor, and everything worked out.
It's spotter Trey Poole calling Chase into the box. Alan Gustafson's crew.
Right on the mark. Oh, it's all going right. Can't get that right front off again. We've seen that several times. You see him correcting that front wheel. They go back around. That's going to keep that 71 team up on top of the weekend.
Just trying to set that right front. Keeps the jackman from coming around and the changer from coming around. Affects the whole.
And as fast as these pit stops are, I mean, just a little hiccup like that just puts you all the way in the trunk. From a ranking standpoint,
Look at the difference at pit stop banks from that NASCAR. Being drove off the screen.
and as I see Brad sit up on top of the board right here, I just think back to Joey Logano last year, if this can hold, and how it turned his season around.
8th for Elliott. That was pit crew. They are all ex-college football players on Michael McDowell's crew, and one of them played in the NFL for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dale Hollifield, the Jackman.
Well, we know this.
All right, Christopher Bell is up. Fastest pit crew the last 2 years in the pit stop competition at North Wilkesboro Speedway is pitting the 20 crew this season yet again. And can Bell have a good set of qualifying laps on top of it to try to take Brad Keselowski down for the pole time? As of right now, Keselowski's qualifying lap is looking better than that of Christopher Bell's. Bell's going to have to make up a lot of time into the pits. Pit stop included. Rolling down the back straightaway, pit entry for Bell. Several car lengths behind where Keselowski was at, based off of the Ghost Guard tracker on Fox Sports 1. #12 fastest pit crew on the season so far for Bell, despite winning this competition the last 2 years. Clean on the rights, to the lefts. Looking good so far. Maybe a little bobble on the left front, but it was still relatively quick. 12.709, just off of the top time. I believe that's going to rank 3rd or 4th on the pit crew side of things. And between Keselowski and Bell, it's going to be Keselowski holding on to the top time with one driver to go. That being the 24 of William Byron. Bell second, though. Pretty good lap. Got him to the front row, just didn't quite get him to the pole. This goes to show the speed difference between Keselowski and everybody else in the field so far in qualifying. On track is William Byron. Second, by the way, again for Bell. Minute 28.252. 9/100ths of a second. 9/10ths of a second, excuse me, the difference between Keselowski and Bell on qualifying. Time to beat in the pits again, still the 12.597 for Michael McDowell's crew, the 71 bunch for Spire Motorsports, with one more pit stop remaining for the 24 at Hendrick Motorsports of William Byron's crew. On the qualifying lap, pretty good for Byron, but not as good as Keselowski's opening lap. On to pit entry. Byron pretty good. Competing with Keselowski on the pit road. This is going to be close. Now it's up to the pit crew. Bell had a fast stop. 24 team is going to need to be even better, not just for the 100 grand bonus, but to try to get this 24 car to sit the pole for tomorrow's race, Sunday's race specifically. Well, tomorrow's set of races with the heats as well.
You're right. There's the I think what?
Well, the pit crew can start celebrating. Michael McDowell's crew has just won the pit crew competition, 32nd ranked overall, entering tonight on the season, and they're going to win $100,000 on their bonus, and Brad Keselowski will retain the pole. No top 10s on the season for Keselowski this year. He's outside the top 30 in points, but he'll be leading the field to the start of the All-Star race on Sunday night as well as his heat race tomorrow. We'll get an interview with Keselowski, who will be the pole sitter. We'll get an interview with the 71 pit crew, who wins the $100,000 bonus. And here's the pit crew interview first.
On a team, all recruited by Hendrick Motorsports. Dax, come on over here. Don't sleep. You've been thinking about this moment. What does this mean? You guys are the top pit crew and you take home $100 grand.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. This is definitely beyond my wildest dreams. You know, I was up at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, Monday night, trying to figure out what I wanted for a setup. My man Travis and 71 team got it for us, and yeah, we've been working hard this year. We're probably the youngest team on pit road, and it's just hard work and determination. That's the part today, I say. But yeah, it's been awesome.
How about the nerves? You guys went out 15th and you had to wait for all those cars and all those pit crew.
I got no words. I can't breathe. I blacked out during the stop. I don't really know.
Congratulations. Well done, guys. Top pit crew. Their driver right here. MC driver, Michael McDowell.
Well, there is their stop, 12.587 seconds. They win it by 13 one-thousandths of a second, and they're $100,000 richer. Brad Keselowski has won the pole, and we'll talk to him next.
All right, so still to come, the Brad Keselowski interview. We'll go through the starting lineup for the Open and then the All-Star race. So again, for the Open, kicking things off, Shane Van Gisbergen on the pole after their qualifying wrapped up about an hour ago. Carson Hocevar on the front row will be starting second. Noah Gragson and Michael McDowell in row number 2. Row 3 will be Ryan Preece, Zane Smith, Justin Haley, John Henry Nemechek. Row 4. Row 5, Ty Gibbs and Ty Dillon. Cole Custer with Eric Jones in row 6. Row 7 for Riley Herbst and Bubba Wallace. Cody Ware, AJ Allmendinger, row 8. And row 9, Todd Gillen with Chad Fincham. That will be the All-Star Open starting lineup. For the main event for the All-Star race tomorrow, Brad Keselowski on the pole with a time of a 1 minute, 27.362 second 3-lap run, which was faster than even what Van Gisbergen put up in his qualifying run on the Open side of things. Christopher Bell will be on the front row starting in second alongside Keselowski. In row number 2 will be Alex Bowman and Chase Briscoe. Row 3 for William Byron and Joey Logano. Row 4, Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin. Row 5, Tyler Reddick and Chase Elliott rounding out the top 10. In row number 6, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with Kyle Busch. Josh Berry, Harrison Burton behind them in row 7. Row 8 will be Kyle Larson, which obviously he'll have to drop to the rear for the start, but that's where Allgaier put him inside of row 8. Chris Buescher on the outside of that row. Ross Chastain with Austin Cindric in row number 9, and Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez rounding out the 20-car field for the Open. And obviously the 2 top finishers and the fan vote get from the Open will line up in positions 21 through 23 on the starting grid for the actual All-Star race itself. And as for the pit crew, the Mechanics Wear Pit Crew Challenge winners, the 71 team Spire Motorsports, pitting for Michael McDowell. Fast time of a 12.587. It was close, but they did get it. And got to hear from them moments ago. You'll get to hear from Brad Keselowski in a couple more moments, as again, he will be on the pole for the All-Star race on Sunday. And his heat race tomorrow. But it does not matter where he finishes in that heat race because he'll be starting up towards the front. Definitely congrats to everybody all the way around. Any winners today.
Going to lead the field to green as we go for
It's
a minute.
Keselowski with Regan Smith.
Keselowski, on a year where a lot of things have gone wrong tonight, you got it all right.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool, man. You know, to win the pole for the All-Star, I've never done that. It's one of the things I've never done in my career, and to do it by so much like that, was that like 9/10? But a total team effort. You know, the pit crew and Jeremy Bowens, the team that gave me a rock solid car and a rock solid pit stop and said, "Here you go. Here's the ball," and I nailed the lap, and just really proud, happy for everybody, particularly Salmon Plumbing. You know, founder Danny passed away a few weeks ago. I know his whole family's watching, and it's the first race with them back on the car, and with ECU Pirates covers on it. So we're leading from the green. We're the first pole of the year, so it feels good.
Good to see you smiling. Have fun tomorrow. Thanks.
And that gives him the pole for the heat and for the All-Star race.
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Those All-Star Heat races will be at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Fox Sports 2, live right here on KRC. Our NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series stream will be the next live commentary stream of the weekend. They will have practice and qualifying in the morning, but we will go live for the race at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow afternoon again. And as far as Sunday goes, doubleheader there as well. The All-Star Open will begin things off at 5 p.m. Eastern. Our second and separate stream for the All-Star main event will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. Have a good rest of your Friday, everybody. I'll see you back and better than ever tomorrow afternoon for the truck race and the All-Star Heat races with our doubleheader action at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Congratulations to the 71 crew getting the $100,000 bonus for Spire Motorsports, winning the pit crew competition. Congrats to Shane Van Gisbergen for scoring the pole in the Open qualifying earlier today as well. And again, congrats, of course, to Brad Keselowski on the pole for the All-Star Race 2025 edition. See you tomorrow, everybody.